He has a fumble. Reid has to backtrack. Handball missed the mark. They're under all sorts of pressure here, the Bombers. Keys snaps. Missed again.
Well, again, your call was perfect, and Jason's point was highlighted again. A double grab and then some pressure, not a huge amount, and Reid misses a handball inside his defensive 50 by 5 metres.
He spoke about the reincarnation of Dylan Shield as a halfback. Looked very uncomfortable standing under the aerial ball, didn't he?
Just going to try and steady here, the Bombers. Some leadership, take control. Durham, his handball couldn't find Erzma. Adelaide will attack again. Hinge opened his vision. That's a good kick. Keys finding space as well. Adelaide, his third shot at goal inside 2 minutes.
It is staggering the amount of space being afforded players once the ball is won.
So, Russian roulette at the moment.
You look up then, Jace, they win the footy back at half forward, Hinge, and there's 4 Adelaide options he could have had a lash at.
Just missed one he should have kicked. Gets the opportunity with a set shot now, Keys.
Western Ferris winner of last season, along with Jordan Dawson. It's his third crack at it, and that time he makes them pay. He's got his first. Adelaide to kick the last couple. The Bombers need to settle.
They've dominated the last 5 minutes, 8 inside 50s to 4. They've kicked 2 goals free from those 8 entries, and they really should have kicked another couple. They just got space everywhere. So this is another, just a hand in, so good pressure there, but they're out everywhere, Adelaide Crows. There's 3 options here, including, it's Tex Walker as well. He could have gone shorter too, and then Ben Keys goes and finishes. So they've had a fantastic 3 or 4 minutes here, the Crows, over the Bombers.
34 goals last season. Ben Keys, second behind Darcy Fogarty.
You just know what you're going to get every week from Ben Keys, don't you? And that's 130% pure effort.
And Neil Bullen, two of the hardest working half forwards in the competition. Sardis in the midfield with Caldwell, Merritt. So they all wax. Another handball was a bit shaky. That was from Pryor. Merritt, disposal number 8. Got it back to Pryor. Wants to go on the opposite boot.
They've got to work, Adelaide. You know the dominance last week in clearances from Essendon plus 19. They're just saturating them around the stoppage there. So they're just funnily retreating nearly every time, not going forward with handball.
Pressure from Adelaide, first rate too. So they're encouraged by the fact that if they get pressure on this Essendon side at the moment, they're missing easy targets.
Here's another clearance. Rankin couldn't break free. Well done from Jones. Forced the turnover. Sardis, long ball. Worrell will get the free kick. It was excellent last week, Josh Worrell. 25 disposals, a career high at the 9 intercepts. Another one who only played 13 games last season. Fit and healthy. Brian. Did well. Gives the Bombers a chance as to set behind the ball. Get some forward half game going. Build some pressure. Kick to Jones. Good one.
Caddy's got Murray as his opponent. Just hasn't had a look at it at the moment.
Murray slipped, so Caddy was free. Jones couldn't spot him. And now kick to a contest. Worrell will be first to get to it, although he also had a fumble. Gresham might have been taken high.
See, it was a good lead from Caddies. You call it Joey's opponent. Slipped his 15 clear. Jones just didn't see, he mustn't have seen it.
Crouch coming. Off one step, will get out of the defensive 50 momentarily. Pryor will drive it back in. O'Brien stood under it. Coming again. And Crouch with that dinky little left kick finds an uncontested mark.
Good composure. Buys yourself a little bit of time here. Actually gets it forward, set ahead of the footy.
Keys to Curtin. These kicks a good one to Walker. So just inching their way along the boundary line at the moment, Adelaide. Essendon have the spare down the line. That's Redmond. The kick goes wider than that to Philthorpe. Too big, too strong. Wheels and goes into the pocket. There's leads everywhere. And that's beautiful play from the big man. And Rochelle will take the gift 20 metres out straight in front.
That's exceptional from Riley Philthorpe. He was actually behind his man in Mackay, and he was able to work his way into the front position, take the contested mark, and then turn and deliver to the leading forward.
want an idea of how this forward line's going to work. So Curtin pushes up. He's a tall forward to Walker, who pushes up to Thilthorpe, and then they find Rochelle.
21 disposals, 2 goals, 2 last week. The best games of his career. He started the season in red hot form.
So you can cut this vision up for anyone that wants to know how a forward line system works. If you're going to play 4 mobile tall forwards, you've got to have an exit. So coming out of defence, someone's got to hit up. That was Curtin. He then finds Walker, who hits up. Then this is the one the Chief's talking about, Thilthorpe. And then you don't have to be 6'6" to hit up out of the goal square like this. So that little passage of play is absolutely perfect from a forward line structural point of view. They'll be thrilled. It's got the game on their terms a bit at the moment. You compare it to how Essendon just keep banging it in. Like they had a little bit of re-entry, but just kicked to the same spot, hoping the Draper can take a big contested mark. They formulated that beautifully, the Crows.
Well, they were the best offence in the competition in 2023. They struggled last year. They look to be returning to somewhere near their best. Durham wins the centre clearance, kick to half forward. Laird across half back this season. Wide towards Keys. Well, Pryor. Keys just keeps the ball alive, keeps it moving. Going to ground.
I was just watching Riley Thilthorpe contested that ruck centre bounce and then bolted forward. Like Darren Burgess said before the game, he's engine, he's top 3 in 2K time trials at the club, so he's got an enormous engine.
Sardis important in that clearance again for Essendon. Here's Caddy's first look. Takes the mark, it's an open forward line. His mate Kako wants it deep. He goes in that direction. Michael Alley's going to be a tough opponent though. And the kick wasn't to his advantage.
No, it wasn't the right kick and it wasn't the right lead from young Kako. They needed to hold that up and identify a better target inside 50.
It's the different structures, Joe.
Yeah.
The 3 big tools at the other end.
Different personnel, isn't it?
Worrell coming. Got the free kick. And hard shot across the head. This game being played on the Shane Mornstein side of the MCG. After the Bombers kicked the first, Adelaide have responded, and another whistle. This time it's going to go to Jordan Dawson. And now there's another one-on-one. Walker and Redmond. Well done for Mason Redmond. A big win.
Yeah, big win.
That was great defence from Essendon. They just kept Adelaide going round the boundary line. They want the corridor at all costs, but the forwards pushed nice and high and just covered that, so they had no option.
The difference is Adelaide are finding outlet kicks. The Bombers just have to keep kicking the contest.
Redmond just pops that up for Draper. And grabbed the height advantage and flew that. The Crows continue to build the pressure. Dawson, Thilthorpe again gets a run and jump at it. He's a presence. Hard landing.
That's dangerous.
We marvelled at Sam Darcy's ability to take the ball at the highest point last night. There's a bit of that about Riley Thilthorpe.
Dawson ran past, called for it. Thilthorpe gave it to him. Martin just wants to get it out of there. Adelaide, they have the numbers. Laird, shovel that ball out to Crouch. Cumming lowers the eyes. And that's been a feature early.
That is the difference. So their capacity to find a target, well, they've got the tools that can compete in the air, but now this is the second hit-up lead, from near enough to the goal square. At the other end of the ground, Isaac Kako was behind his man and wasn't able to get forward to present. Adelaide seemed to have it working pretty well.
It wasn't just Fogarty either. They had multiple options leading.
Forward line looks good early. Fogarty into the leadership group for the first time this season. He kicked 4 last week, and that's what he does as well as any player in the competition.
Making a statement early, the Crows. It's going to be some real readjusting needed from the Essendon coaches box when Brad Scott gets his men at quarter time, what they're able to do, because it's an Adelaide game at the moment. They are dominating in terms of pressure, creating turnovers, and when they go forward, there are options. You can see there's multiple options and plenty of space for Fogarty to lead into, but Walker was clear as well. He could have marked the same kick.
Yeah, so Zach Reid hasn't played a lot of footy, but when you go and look at that vision again, there's only one place really that you can get done, and that's
Go and stand in front of the opponent.
so why stand back shoulder on Darcy Fogarty? Go and take the dangerous space. Go and play 10 metres in front of Fogarty. Take away that leading space, and then be prepared to have it kicked over your head and get some support.
The Crows have scored 7 times from 11 entries inside 50. Caldwell. Big collision coming the other way with Scholl.
They've been pretty clinical, Joey, which is what's impressed compared to what we saw from Essendon early with their fumbles and double grabs and inability to execute.
He's going to try and win some clearance, get some field position. Dersma. Adelaide working harder at the moment. Rankin getting back, supports the defence to Crouch.
So they've taken 15 uncontested marks too. So, they've got two methods here. If they have to, they'll do this.
Going to be popped up for Phil Thorpe, but fell short, chopped off by Dersma. And that kick there, wide open Shealy has to go back and wait for it. And now try and reload. The kick was going to go straight down the throat of Crouch, but he slipped. But numbers everywhere again from Adelaide. They've got all the time in the world here. Assess their options. They decide to go deep. Dawson's pushed forward. Ground level. Rochelle's lurking. Another fumble from Shield. They couldn't make them pay.
Hasn't started well, Dylan Shield. If you're going to be used off half-back, you've got to be the distributor. You can't take all that time and then kick to a 1-on-3.
That was better from Shield. Through the middle. Nick Martin. He is a classy user. He wants to put it to grass. Bombers are running hard. There's Edwards on debut. The young man had his moment. Couldn't take the mark, still alive. Kako, Martin, he'll get it again.
Gee, that's a clever kick from Nick Martin. He was about to blaze away for goal, and at the last moment, he saw Edwards had popped into space.
What
He was able to just chip it around the corner.
What about his emotions, this young fella, Jace? He says, run with the fight. He's singing, I've lost an opportunity for my first goal. And to his credit, he bounced back up.
Tackled.
Got into a dangerous space, and earns himself a shot at goal. Huge moment for the young man here.
A couple of months ago, he's a school teacher in Perth, an SSP signing over summer. And here he is, living out his dream on the MCG. And he joins the club. First kick at AFL footy's a goal. And the Bombers needed that one. Well done to Tom Edwards.
Well done indeed. Now let's have a look at the sequence again, Jason. It'll be a memorable first goal when he goes back. They'll say, what do you remember of it? He goes, I dropped the chest mark, got myself up and laid a tackle, and then ran into a hole, and Nick Martin put it on my chest. So there's a fair bit in it.
And I reckon that's the sort of thing that Brad Scott uses all the time. He says, persistence pays off. And we've had to go to a first gamer to show you an example of it. Might have made a mistake, but then fixed it up. The effort was there, and he gets the reward, and he's able to convert. Well done.
It is the little burst they needed because they'd given up 4 unanswered. They're kicking it just under at 59% so far, Essendon, compared to 73.
Better players that are squandering the football.
Yep.
Grew up breaking for the Bombers. Now he's out here contributing, trying to get the win. And maybe that just might rejuvenate Essendon, who are under the pump for a big part. Here he is again. Came out, arm stretched, and from Murray, got the fist in.
And again, I don't want to be too critical of Dylan Shield, but the decision to kick to a leading short that has a player right up his backside is the wrong option. You've got to go long.
O'Brien, that was a set play, clever tap. Rankin, Saligo onto it. Rochelle looks up, sees Dawson deep, although he draws to man. Phil Thorpe, he now can screw the ball around, but Essendon get back in numbers. They did well that time. Perfect roll of the wingman, Xavier Dersma.
An early cork for Mason Redmond on the bench. He's just had his left thigh taped, so came off with a cork in one of the contests.
Perkins. And the Bombers run out of room.
4 goals, 3 for turnover, Adelaide. So that's the untidiness that we've seen, the messiness from Essendon early in the piece. It's been tidy up coming out of their back half especially.
Zach Merritt leading the way with 10 disposals. McGrath's got 6. Dawson has the 8, and Keys and Worrell 6 disposals apiece. O'Brien again went looking for Rankin. Chopped off And the Bombers are out and running. Caldwell. Again, it's an open forward line, but again, the kick's not to advantage. Well read, Michael Annie.
So all the Essendon forwards are up the ground. The kick has to go over the top. And it's the Adelaide defenders that beat them back.
Wouldn't you love, though, to have Draper as that player coming at that ball as opposed to trying to run back with a flight? What have we got out?
Umpire called no 15. We've seen them be red hot on that early this season. So a chance here for Essendon. Drake will do the ruck work. O'Brien got there late. Which way is the free kick going to be paid? It's going to go to Draper.
That's interference in the ruck context. Not smart.
He wasn't the dominated ruckman. Riley O'Brien wasn't aware, I don't think. So he had nominated.
He'll go around the corner again here.
No, he won't.
Will he? He did it last time. Why wouldn't he do it again?
Because he's 4.5 metres out from goal.
He's turning.
Everybody's holding their breath. Everyone at the MCG was holding their breath. This is his set shot routine. And who cares? It's effective. He's got two.
They'll take them however they can get them. It doesn't matter that it's come from a ruck infringement. Desperately need a goal, gets them back in the contest. And for all the play that Adelaide's had and the mistakes that the Bombers have made, they're only 8 points down. So you can see there's two players in the ruck for the Crows. Pete then goes in, and then O'Brien comes over the top. And then they have one nominated ruckman.
Riley O'Brien's thinking there. I mean, he's going to be. He's smart, Riley O'Brien. He's probably the smartest player in the competition, but not then. He was dumb. This is a good result. This is against the flow here. They've got 2 goals out of Sam Draper and playing as that forward. I would, if I was instructing him, I'd say don't get any further than 20 metres away from that goal square.
There's some side entertainment going on here at the G, and it's Draper having a shot for goal. The crowd goes off when he turns side on.
It's been a good response, good fight back from Essendon. It's come through some clearance wins, although Saligo rips that one away. It's Darcy Fogarty. He wants to wheel. Only go one way, then tried to go short for Walker. Caldwell got back. Flicks it out for Dersma. Under pressure. Big Otis to keep it alive. Chance for Darren if he can sit. And he takes his time trying to pick the ball up, and in the end it'll go out of bounds.
It's just dirty ball coming out of their defence. Like, they're just, if they just clean that up a bit, they'll go a long way for their transition.
Yeah. Great work, Caldwell, getting back into that hole. I mean, that was about to hit Tex Walker on the chest then, so pushing back from a midfield point of view. Great work, great.
Clearance is 9-5 in favour of the Bombers. And the strength, Saligo been busy the last minute or so. Hinge tried to come through hard. Hobbs wraps him up. He's in trouble. And he's going to get pinged. So Hobbs, one of these Bombers looking to take the next step. They go wide. So much of his first quarter played on his outer wing. Dersma's wing. He's had a bit of ball. Draper. Merritt. Snap. Instead, he tries to go to Gresham. He might have been better off having a ping.
Had to have a shot, and he wasn't. In the end, Gresham's outsized. He earned the right to have a shot. He's had a fantastic first quarter, Zach Merritt.
Too unselfish, the skipper. Curtin pops it over to Dawson.
Coming up for his 9th possession as well. So both leaders having big first quarters.
It's Fogarty with the lead. That was way too easy to get separation.
So he's got to realise, Reid, that Fogarty's hitting up at every opportunity.
And then Rankin got some separation. The kick was at his ankles. He's good enough to make it work. And now Tex just comes straight to the kicker. That was far too easy, but great ball movement from the Crows.
It's brilliant from Rankin, but he'd be pulling his hair out, Brad Scott. Hobbs has got him cold with the tackle and he just gets fended off.
Well, that's
too easy.
I mean, part of his preparation to play on Isaac Rankin, he's up hard against the boundary line. So all you got to do is corral him there and he can't go anywhere. Instead he charges and gets fended off. And then just look at the class. Look at the fend off and then the class finish.
He was flushing these from this spot in warm-up.
And all the Adelaide forwards have had their opportunities in this first quarter. Tex struck it nicely, just drifted across the face. under a minute 30 left in this entertaining first quarter. They've had their troubles here, the Bombers, getting it out of defence. It's in the trusty hands of Merritt. Tex thought he kicked it. He celebrated early.
Very happy with it.
Big ball. Edwards couldn't take it cleanly. Crouch did. Murray, Michael Annie. Coming through hard was Hinge and Edwards. Fogarty sweeps it wide. O'Brien, the unlikely receiver. His kick missed. Rochelle, Shield. Got out of it okay. McGrath wants to run and go. Put Corwell under pressure. Great run down from Mitch Hinge. And Adelaide's pressure's been a feature in this first quarter.
It has. I think they identified early that it can work really hard for them if they are able to pressure in their front half. And just, I think Essendon will be happy that the margin's 9 points here. The last two goals help out enormously, but they have been untidy.
Crouch again. First possession, Curtin. Off a standing start. They're all going to fly the tools. Reid and Mackay collided. Rankin. And now Roberts. Wants his left. Exits were cut off well by Adelaide. Miller up. Positioned himself nicely. Another ground ball coming. And Essendon desperately trying to hold on here. Last 20 seconds. They've done well to get themselves back within 9 points. Last opportunity here. That'll be the Crows. Dawson again. One-on-one contest. Ground level. Walker got the arms free. Neil Bourne around the body. This will hurt on the siren. Adelaide get their fifth. And they've looked lively in their forward half all quarter.
2 seconds on the clock. They will be pulling their hair out in the Essendon box because they've done well to keep it to 9 points, the margin. But just repeat entries, their ability to turn it back over in their front half. Adelaide become a feature for any good side, and then they just go to work. There's nothing classy about it. The hands from Walker were superb, and Neil Bullen's made it is part of his CV. Works really hard in the forward half. When an opportunity presents, he kicks a goal. Kicked one last week. It's another one. Probably more reflective of the margin that it should be, I think, Chief.
Two players front and square on their own. Pete Leg and Neil Bullen just working a little bit harder.
Traded for 32 in the off-season. It was a great pick-up for the Crows. Neil Bullen with the final goal of the first quarter. Seesaw in battle. Adelaide, they look sharp. The Bombers have a little bit of work to do. Perfect Saturday afternoon for the MCG. It's the Crows leading by 15 points.
All right, folks, good morning with another game here. Of course, Essendon taking on Adelaide here this morning at the MCG, and it's Adelaide 5-5-35 leading the Bombers 3-2. 15 points up. The Adelaide Crows. Tell you what, it's a beautiful day here in Melbourne. It is 18 degrees, sunshine, a little bit of cloud, so it's a perfect day for players, spectators to play this game. Absolute cracker. I just want to say g'day to a few. Of course, Infinity Gamer, shout out for coming into the live, listening to the broadcast. Addy G, Ryan, how you going? And Grace, Shatti, long time, Grace, good to see you. There we go. I don't know whether we've got any Adelaide or Essendon supporters in the house. We've got some Freo, we've got some Tigers. Of course, the Tigers coming up next. That should be a ripping game. Wow, wee. The Tigers, for Ryan, they're going to be playing Port Adelaide over in Port Adelaide. Should be good. Oh, let's go and have a look at the goal scorers for this game so far. Sam Draper for the Bombers, the only multiple goal scorer with two. He's the only. And Thomas Edwards, single goal scorer for Essendon as well. For Adelaide, Rochelle, Neil Bullen, Malera, Keys, Fogarty are the single goal scorers there for Adelaide. On this beautiful day at the MCG in Melbourne for football, disposal getters, let's have a look. Zachy Merritt's having a good game so far for the Bombers. He's topping the table, 13 possessions. It's a fantastic opening quarter, 7 kicks, 6 handballs, a mark, a tackle, couple of clearances, and a behind. All he needs to do is put a sausage roll on the board and he'll complete. Jordan Dawson tops the table for Adelaide with 10. He's having a good game. 9 kicks, a mark, couple of one handball, I should say, couple of tackles, couple of marks, clearance. He's doing it well. Matty Crouch doing it well. Also with 8. Jai Caldwell with 8 also. Ranky on 7. Let's roll down. Dylan Shield, he's at 6 there, the good gun midfielder for the Bombers. Let's keep on rolling down. Saligo, the 5 touches, 3 kicks, couple of handballs. Riley Thilthorpe on 4 there. Rochelle, the 4 touches, 3 kicks, 1 handball. He's kicked 1 goal, 1, so he's going reasonably well off the boot there for the Crows. Let's head on down there. We'll see where some of the others are, where the key forward is. Where's Tex Walker? I don't know whether Tex Walker's playing today, is he? Let me just have a look at the lineups. Just for the lineups for Essendon, Menzie and Edwards came in. Ridley and Langford out. Thomas Edwards, the new player. Jai Menzie is the sub. And, of course, Sid Draper is the sub for Adelaide. Unchanged, the Adelaide lineup. We're looking for the forwards. Where is Tex? Yeah, Tex Walker's there. All right, let's have a quick look at the team stats up until quarter time. That's all pretty similar here. Disposal count only for the difference. Adelaide by 4. The kicks, though, there we go. 16 in favour of the Crows. And, of course, Adelaide, Essendon love the handball. They're 12 up there. Inside 50s. Well, both teams getting good opportunities so far, 11 and 18. 5 scoring shots for Essendon's, 11 inside 50s. And Adelaide Crows, 18 inside 50s, having a bit more opportunity for their 10 scoring shots. Efficiency, well, 68.8, 70, a little bit low. They'll pick that up as the game progresses, I would imagine. And the efficiency inside 50 for the Bombers. They just need to score a little bit more goals, few more times as they go on in there. Free kicks, not too much there. 3 to 6, Adelaide by 3 there. The hit outs, everything reasonably similar there. 7 to 10, plus 3 to Adelaide. Clearances, plus 10 to the Bombers. Centre clearances, the Bombers by 2 as well. Pretty good at the centre clearances are the Bombers. Contested possession, not a great deal in it as the uncontested. Turnovers, 24-19. Only 5 the difference. I wouldn't worry too much about that. The marking, Adelaide a bit stronger, finding the, a few more kicks. They're just holding possession a little bit more. Marks inside 50, though, looking good there so far for Adelaide. Bombers need to find a little bit of space, find their targets up forward, give themselves a little bit more of a chance. All right, let's head back down to the ground. They'll take us into the bounce of the ball. Hey, Puff, dude, here you go. I'm back from that Collingwood. What a comeback. Tell you what, it was good to see the Pies get up there last night, wasn't it? All right, let's head back down to the ground for the second quarter, whereas the Crows by 15.
Yeah, this is a great passage of play. It highlighted it was Curtin that got up and took the outlet kick, and then Taylor Walker was the next one up. Thilthorpe was the next one up, and then Rochelle out of the goal square with Andy McGrath sitting back on his heels. So it's making the most of the talent you've got at your disposal, and this is certainly a strength for this Adelaide side. And not only are they marking in their forward half, Chase, the other really impressive part of this first quarter is their ability to intercept in the front half and then turn it back into goals. 3 goals for each from 4.5 intercepts is a massive result.
It is. Pressure level's been great from the Crows. It's forced fumbles. It's forced those turnovers. Brad Scott would be impressing upon his charges ball security. We're winning enough of it, but we're just coughing it up. We've got to be more secure with the ball. Hand passes, one grabs, and make good options by foot.
The second quarter about to get underway. Will be O'Brien and Nick Bryan going at it again. Durham in there with Zach Merritt and Caldwell. Adelaide's big 3. Rankin, Crouch and Dawson. They caddy. Wasn't able to get too involved in that first quarter. Just seeing the box there, just Draper and Tex Walker exchanging a few words.
Bringing up that last name.
Maybe it was. Tex got a long memory. Here's Laird coming out of half back, and there is Walker. Got the size advantage on Redmond.
Isaac Rankin cruised through the middle of the ground, still hasn't got an opponent.
Kick won't go towards him. He's going to be front and square. He's right there. So Saligo. Fogarty. Reid had him for long enough.
He's lucky, Zach Reid. He lost Darcy Fogarty the first time around. Fogarty didn't realise how clear he was. Could have taken an uncontested mark and had the shot.
This is this ball protection you're talking about, Jace. Just, they want to go, they want to move the footy, but they also want to protect it.
Caldwell. That's Draper on a long lead. Wasn't able to get to him on the full, but Draper gathered nicely. Merritt. Again, the kick. Not as spectacular as we're used to seeing from Merritt. Michael Annie did well find Shoal. Off a step, Crouch in space, just gets to him.
So he's home again in the middle, Rankin.
Disposal number 10 for Crouch. And we've been able to do this pretty easily. Adelaide just lead up, present the football. Walker off a standing start. This time the kick to Fogarty was perfect. Who had back position.
He's on a steep learning curve, Zach Reid, because he did take the leading lane then when he probably didn't have to. Because if he was going to concede anywhere, let him go to the boundary line.
And as soon as the kick came in, he was lost. He didn't know where his opponent was, and he's feeling, he's waving his arm for the ball. It's gonna be an education.
Murray kick one. It's a tough kick, but he's one of the best set shots in the competition. That's a dead-eye.
But this is a really interesting coaching situation for whoever there is as the defensive coach, because maybe he learned, said, hey, let's not let Fogarty hit up at the ball. So Reid's made the adjustment and said, okay, I'll go and play 5 metres in front of him. But then you look at the bloke who's got the ball in his hand. So let's just watch this. So here's Reid in the foreground here. So he's going, okay, I'll take the leading lane. I won't let him get to the boundary. But the bloke with the ball is Tex Walker, arguably as good a kick as anyone in the comp. And he gets depth over the back. So in the end, you probably go, hey, you're just going to have to take that one.
They're finding good separation, the Adelaide forwards, and conversely, at the other end, there's just nothing to kick to. So it's a marked difference when both teams go forward.
And the only problem with Reid is he becomes the red jumper now. So Adelaide no dummies in terms of isolating him and kicking to that forward.
And they're in sync. Adelaide tall forwards in this game. Essendon winning clearance. Caldwell getting a stack of footy. Gresham able to work his opponent under the ball, but Adelaide bring the heat. Martin, handball forward. Hobbs. Martin wanted it back. Crouch got a hand on him and just did enough.
Well, here's their opportunity, Essendon. It's in their forward half. You've got to lock it in now. Turn the heat up on Adelaide. Make it hard for them to transition.
That's a good call, Tico. Adelaide been pretty comfortable moving the ball out of their back half. Well, that kick wasn't the best from Pryor. It was Keane who turned it over. And now the Bombers will look to shift it. McGrath looks forward, not a lot on, so has to go lateral. Redmond again looks up. Harry Jones wants it out the back, but he comes back into the corridor. Perkins. They've certainly spread the field here, the Bombers. And now the Crows have them marked really well. They'll hold them up, and they're forced to try and squeeze something.
I'm not sure they're kicking the ball well enough to play that game. It's the problem right now. They're like Crows are. They're hitting targets.
They're doing this all day. Lead up, wheel, out the back. That is just textbook footy from the Adelaide Crows.
Oh boy, he's not enjoying football at the moment, Zach Reid. That's just, it was his kick that was turned over to start with, and then he had to pick up Keys.
Keys has already had 3 shots at goal, make it 4. He's kicked 2 goals too. And Adelaide, they're starting to pile on a decent score.
Getting back to my point, Chief, that's the thing. They identified that Keys had Reid and they isolate, keep him deep and isolate, obviously, his inexperience.
So it's, look, it's a great finish from Keys. You'll see him here. He pushes back hard once the turnover comes. And Reid just It's tough when you play in front because you're constantly looking at the ball, then looking back where your opponent is, then turning to look at the ball, and you lose track of both at different stages. But he's a victim of his own skill error in turning it over. And they have very few options. That's the biggest challenge for the Bombers.
The other thing, from Essendon's point of view, they're trying to play possession footy, tried to move the zones one side to the other. Adelaide just picked them off. They just wait, they're patient, they close the exit, pick them off, go down the other end and score a goal.
Adelaide have all the answers at the moment. And now Rankin bursts out of the centre. He doesn't pick away, he goes short to Philthorpe. Good unselfish play.
It's exciting for an Adelaide Crow supporter.
Yep.
You're sitting at home or you're sitting here at the home of the MCG where you've had no great success, and all of a sudden Rankin's charging out of the middle, putting it down the throat of the big fella Philthorpe, and some sticky mitts here too, by the way. Watched him in the pre-game. He did a lot of these drills where he's just charging at blokes who are banging the ball into him, and see, they've got some options inside their forward 50.
And these tall forwards are licking their lips. Philthorpe yet to hit the scoreboard. He has now. And the big three are doing some damage.
I go back to the centre bounce and have a look at that as well. So leave the front of the square open. You're just flirting with danger. And with Isaac Rankin particularly comes charging out of the front. Then it's just Mackay and the rest of the defenders are holding their breath. But I love the kick. Just lower the eyes. Don't try and drill it too hard. Let him make his own way to it. There's not much that Ben Mackay can do about that. So you've got to have some protection there, though. You can't let Isaac Rankin get goal side like that out of the middle.
He's like a brick wall. He's put on since his knee injury 10 kilos. That's a lot of weight, a lot of muscle and power. He's going to be one to watch.
3 goals to zip to start this second quarter. Essendon haven't got any answers at the moment. This is their strength. Can they win some centre clearance? Sardis trying to get in the path of merit. Dawson there. Sardis goes back. Kick off the ground. Mark got paid for coming. Umpire will let them go. Coming. Did he drag it in? Umpire said he did.
He got it out and the ball came back to him. He was unlucky.
Jones just wanted to try and get in there as quick as he could. Caddy got hands to it. Couldn't bring it down. Edwards. Dersma broke the tackle. Just threw it on the boot. It's not pretty. And it's not going to be effective. Keane. Wasn't sure what he was going to do, but he had enough support to get it to the experienced Laird. He kicks it long and high, and then Rochelle outmarks a couple of Bombers.
Yeah, one of them's a ruckman with Nick Bryant. That just can't happen.
It's an aggressive kick. Well read from Durham. Shield. Another couple of fumbles. Neil Bullen. They're on the open side if Miller can spot them. Kako did enough. Dawson. Crouch. They are out everywhere here. Scholl has time and space, and he's generally a good user. Although that one will get to the bounce for Curtin.
Just can't get over how fumbly the Bombers have been. And quality players that normally one touch with the ball and they're off. They're putting themselves under pressure. They're feeling it. It's building.
Sardis squeezes a little ball for Hobbs. Everything's tough going for Essendon at the moment. Draper and Keane. Draper. He's got some athleticism for a big man. Keeps the ball alive.
Good job.
Edwards comes and supports. Didn't get the bounce to suit. And again, Adelaide handle it with ease. Scholl. On board to Miller. Just has to wait. Something will open up. It does Soligo. They're on short the 45. He could have raffled Crouch or Peatling. In the end, he split the two. Durham a couple of times with the hand in. Now Edwards and young Worrell. He's a fine player. Adelaide happy just to be patient. They've got the game on their terms. They lead by 32 points. It was 15 at quarter time.
This is a 39th uncontested mark they've taken, 39-19. So they can play this style of game because they do hit a target.
But it also highlights the difference in work rate defensively.
Bombers do force them to kick long down the line. Essendon had the numbers. Robert slipped. Peatling heard the call from Phil Thorpe, but chopped off by Brian. And again, Michael Laney. Now they want to bring it inboard. Laird has Murray, who can just go short to Miller, or even longer to Neil Bullen. They got options everywhere. Miller has already kicked one. Stands, starts, and tried to deliver, but just left it out to the right.
Way too easy. It is way too easy at the moment for the Adelaide Crows.
There's another little chain of uncontested marks, Gaz, and that's the difference. When Essendon get the ball, Adelaide works so hard when they haven't got it to cut off those easy outlet kicks, but when Adelaide have got it, they're always finding loose targets.
Martin's kick in hope was for Jones to beat a couple prior. Keen, happy to see that one roll out.
40 points from intercepts so far for the Adelaide Crows. So they just they're sweating on the Bombers. Gee, they've got some work to do. The pressure from Adelaide's been great. Their execution's been clinical. They look like they're absolutely on song. The amount of times handballs have gone to ground, kicks have fallen short from Essendon's point of view.
Brian trying to take it upon himself. He's kick smothered and goes a second time. And it's been much of this from Essendon. Just almost kicking in hope, and Adelaide have had all the answers across half-back. Miller danced out of trouble easily.
It's an issue for the Bombers that they're not a high-pressure team, and when they can't apply serious pressure to the opposition, this becomes far too easy.
And even when they're offensively got the ball, they're just playing in too high a speed and turning it over. So they've got to be able to drop down gears like Adelaide are now.
Keys will drive this one in deep. Pack of flies, O'Brien's there, so's Curtin. Pryor went to knees really easily. Chance for the Crows. Caldwell. Handball in hope more than anything. And then Merritt. They kick off the ground in hope. He has to try and fight his own work. Soligo ran into trouble. That's better.
Much better. And Zach Merritt was the one who started it.
And now they're away and running. Shield to Gresham. Just has to pick the right option. He had Merritt short. He had Caddy running out the back. And instead he tried to go for goal.
That's a horrible decision. A selfish decision.
It sums it up, Jason, where this Essendon side's at right now. The game's not gone, but right now, this sums them up. They finally get the turnover and pressure. Again here.
Oh, Keane lost his footing. Merritt will say thank you. And that's the goal they needed. A mistake from Keane. And the Bombers make them pay.
He's made a decision, Zach Merritt. So he's not sitting back. So the one through the middle of the ground, he charged forward and almost got there. Then Gresham missed him when he was on his own by 30 metres, which, as you rightly pointed out, was horrible. And then a little bit of luck or a mistake from Keane comes their way. But you've got to put yourself in this position. He just hung on enough there, Caddy, to give time for Zach Merritt to come. Badly needed, turn the footy over in their forward half. Hasn't happened a lot.
Yeah, the skipper leading the way. He comes to the bench. Look, he's out of gas. That's what he tried in these last few minutes.
That's defensive as a result of defensive efforts as much as anything else. So there's one who's made a bit of a decision here to say, no, I'm going to up some pressure here. Up the ante on the opposition.
Leading ball winner on the ground, 16 disposals. His first goal, 5 inside 50s. And can the Bombers build off that? Draper now in the ruck. Peatling got the hands free. Clever from Phil Thorpe. Soligo with a bit of time and space. Redmond did it nicely. And the Bombers build the ball from half back. They've struggled so far. That kick is an interesting one to a one-on-one. And Adelaide seem to always have the extra number, although Laird has a fumble. Kako did well, and now wants to kick to Caddy, who was out of position. He did well to bring it to grounds. Keane again went one-handed. Going hard was Edwards. Miller under pressure. Essendon have lifted here. Hinge has been able to find the outlets.
Well done. The Crows absorbed it, but for the first time, probably since the first few minutes of the game, they're feeling some genuine heat. Kako's up. He looks to me like he's gone, okay. Saw the captain leading the way, so he's having a crack, putting some pressure on.
Michael Annie dropped the mark. So it's now Adelaide with a few little mistakes. Essendon, Dersma Wanted to burst through Murray. Martin, he's a classy finisher. He takes a bounce. He runs in. He goes for the check side. And the Bombers are back in it.
Just a good finish in the end. He had the confidence to have a bounce with a man hot on his tail, and the finish was quality. It just feels like they've kicked a couple against the run of play, but it might turn the tide. All of a sudden that lifts the confidence of those around you, a couple of players who can be clean. So some good pressure coming out of the defence, one of the few times they've been able to do that. And here's the quick turnover.
You can see it, Jace. You can absolutely see the effort from the Essendon players in the last 3 minutes to say enough is enough here. So the margin gets out to 26 points, or even more, maybe 30 plus, and then it just looks to me like they said, well, and I'm going back to Zach Merritt, there was a moment through the middle of the ground where he went, okay, this is it. And then they've all, Kako, the last couple of efforts have been sensational. Dersma's last couple of efforts have been much better. So a little indicator that, okay, we identify the problem and we're doing something about it during the game, not waiting till half-time.
And the crowd have lifted as well here at the MCG. Bombers fans have all turned out, trying to lift their side. Can they continue to build the momentum? Dawson, kick goes wide. Just hit some chalk. Overruled, yeah. So it'll be Roberts, not on Rankin.
A little bit messy, wasn't it, when they had the turnover from the out on the full and not able to use it. Just got to keep their composure, the Bombers.
See the Essendon forward line. That's Young, Kako, Caddy, and debutant in Edwards. Perkins is there as well. And they've got some energy about them. They just need to sustain it now. Dawson again. Kick around the body. Well done from Reed. He attacked the ball, couldn't hold on to it.
That was terrific.
Terrific.
Yeah, front position away, attacked the footy. Well done.
Careful of Walker. He's normally dangerous inside 50. Rochelle, with the soccer talent that he has, couldn't curl it into the top corner enough. Through from behind.
It's allowed Jordan Dawson to sit off the back of the last two stoppages. He's up to 15 touches. Just the modern way these days. The good players get some space.
Kicking fine still and Shield. Caldwell offers a lead short. He honours him. Suppose number 12 coming up for Jai Caldwell.
Well, a few times they've been able to chain together some uncontested marks.
It's hard to find one more. He looks up. Adelaide have the extra down the line. Caddy's got about 3 to beat. Didn't matter. Kick was over his head anyway. Worrell, aggressive into the corridor. Walker has Peatling wide. Hinge running hard forward, short to Keys.
There's a lot of space.
Now they want to go to Hinge, who just kept running. He pushed all the way from half back, inside 50. And he'll have a shot from 35 straight in front.
They just jogged forward too, Joey, and Nick Bryan was trying to cover him but couldn't get there, the ruckman. And he just jogs into a pocket of space and they pick him up. The Crows with the ball, they find the right option.
And there's a really good Isaac Rankin. You'll see this, hopefully. He just identifies the space is there and holds his ground. Doesn't go to the ball, just stands there, lets him drop back into the hole.
Really becoming an integral member of their back seven, Mitch Hinge. Not a noted goal kicker, just 7 in his 67 games of AFL footy. But he sneaks that one home.
Good response from Adelaide. You just see that there's a big lot of space between the last line of the forwards and the midfield group for him to run into at the time. So you see them working back. So Foggy takes his man back. Look at that big hole open up. And here's Hinge running forward. Now, Rankin it is here who turns and then identifies that. I'll hold and let Hinge run into the spot. So that, to me, is a good functioning forward setup, Jason. They're on the same page. They're aware of each other. Who's the free player?
Good finish there from Mitch Hinge.
Good response. After giving up a couple of goals, good response. Take your opportunities when they present themselves.
They're patient. They've taken 55 marks. Adelaide, they've been able to build the ball up. And now they get a good look from the centre clearance. Crouch, Walker and Mackay in a matchup. Rankin just letting the ground of the ball. And he's dangerous wherever he's on the ground.
There's a big difference in terms of having marking targets up forward, whether they're tall or small. They've found space, they've led, they've attacked the footy, and at the other end it's been painfully difficult going forward, trying to find a marking option. They've had to kick goals through all means going forward, the Bombers, but for the Crows it's been a lot more regulation. Get a good inside 50 to the advantage of a teammate. They're able to take the mark and go back and have the set shot.
28 disposals, 2 goals last week. He was brilliant. Looking for his first today. He makes no mistake. And Adelaide go back to back.
The best forward lines over time have been the ones that are multifaceted. It's hard to defend if you don't know where it's going or who it's going to. I look at Geelong right now. They've got so many options when they go forward. So you win a centre bounce, you go, okay, who is it? Is it Fogarty? Is it Walker? Is it Thilthorpe coming out? No, this time it's Rankin. Next time it might be Rochelle. They've got options everywhere and they go forward. And this is Rankin just cruising up out of the goal square. So Andy McGrath's caught on the back foot here.
So what it means at the moment is the Crows are playing orthodox football, because you get the ball, you go forward, you've got multiple options. You can pick and choose. Whereas the Bombers, when they get the ball, they're under the pump. They're not finding loose targets. They're not quite sure how the scores are going to come. And they're doing it more by luck than design at times.
They've scored 17 times from 29 entries. Adelaide have been highly efficient. And they've responded after Essendon lifted the energy. There's been a few players slipping. That's Hinge this time. He's going to get rewarded. High contact. Bit unlucky against Hobbs.
5-2 out of centre bounce this quarter too, Joey, which has been a great benefit to the Crows.
Crouch and coming. Worrell. Hobbs missed the tackle. Hinge got the hands free. Essendon swarming here. Can they turn the ball over? Merritt's just out waiting goal side. If they can take it cleanly, they couldn't quite. Stoppage. Merritt and Caldwell leading the way for the Bombers. Dawson, Crouch and Saligo getting plenty of footy for the Adelaide Crows. There's Saligo again, disposal number 15. Another clearance. Fogarty in a one-on-one against Reid. Again, Fogarty wins out. Short lead from Thilthorpe. Fogarty ignores him. Takes one step, ping the ears back and just hooked it.
Well, they're hamstrung at the moment with their injuries. Essendon, Reid's just he's absolutely manhandled by Fogarty at the moment, which is another pre-season and experience, but they haven't got many other options, so he's sort of rearranging the deck chairs at the minute.
He's Caldwell looks up. Adelaide have numbered off well, so he has to go to his big man Draper. Strong hands.
So ahead of the footy, it's Caddy and Edwards, the youngsters. That's just highlighting Jason's point earlier that personnel-wise it is at different ends of the spectrum here.
Redmond trying to make something happen. Got the 1-2 from Durham. Now a chance for Caddy. Edwards came through hard. Caddy follows up. Quick whistle. Ball up.
Good pressure. Edwards on debut.
What I like about the Crows, though, when they work back into their defensive 50s, when the ball hits the deck, they've got more numbers. They're working hard to outnumber at the contest, and that's allowing them to take it away and find targets coming out.
Essendon were dangerous forward 50 stoppages last week against the Hawks. And they find an avenue to score. Durham might be the man. Pick up, snap.
Wide. Just, again, highlighting. There's not too many more willing competitors than Durham, but when you get a little bit of time inside forward 50,
Gets high up the ground.
It's taken 5 uncontested marks, Darcy Fogarty.
But they just continue to be patient and find good outlet kicks to players that will either take a mark for or on their own.
That was a poor kick from Rochelle. Miller runs into trouble. Oh, no, Essendon.
So that's it. They have ramped it up a bit. So they've been able to win the ball back in this area a little bit more in the last 5 to 6 minutes than they have in the early part of this game.
But what can they do on the rebound? This is where you've got to punish opposition.
This sums it up. Yep. Right here.
And Redmond probably shouldn't have called for that handball. Had himself in trouble. Peatling sees Rochelle working hard back to goal. The execution perfect.
Nutshell.
We've spoken about points from turnover, guys. they just continue to be their own worst enemy, the Bombers. They're taking on options that aren't right, kicks that aren't there, making simple skill errors. And as soon as the Crows get it on turnover, they go and they've got players running into space, working harder forward and making goals look very easy to come by.
So they've kicked 7 goals, 5 from turnover for the game out of their 10.
This will be 8.
Coming up for disposal, number 9, for his second. Rochelle makes no mistake, and Adelaide continue to pile on a big score before the half.
It's pretty impressive. It's pretty impressive, Joey. There is some firepower on display. It's one thing to force the turnover. It's one thing to put the pressure on to make the opposition nervous and turn the footy over, as Redmond does on this occasion. I mean, he was there in the middle of the ground. He just missed him. Roberts was there. But then you've got to make him pay. So for a half a footy, they've kicked 11 goals, 8. That's a good number. That's 19 shots from 31 inside 50s. They look dangerous every time they go in.
The offensive firepower on full display for the Adelaide Crows. They kicked 135 points last week against St Kilda. And a 6-high score under Matty Nicks. And they're on track for something similar here at the MCG.
Got a fair half, Joshua Shelley.
A ground they haven't won at since 2017. But they are putting on a show. Rankin tried to create something for Dawson. Perkins went without it. Durham got it to Merritt. A couple of their prime movers. It was a bit sharp for Perkins, and he coughs it up. And this is where Adelaide have been making them pay all afternoon. Neil Bullen has time, able to break the Merritt tackle, went short, but over the head of Keys. And Merritt has a 2v1 on this broadcast side. Jones is one of them, Martin's the other. If he takes it cleanly, Gresham's peeled out. Adelaide sweat on him, so happy to feed it back. Jones just took too long.
Gee, the quality of the tackle was good, wasn't it?
Outstanding pressure from this Adelaide Crows team. If you know you're going to get rewarded, Jace, you're inclined to do it more.
Yeah.
And he just looks slow and laborious there, Jones, and Hinge made him look silly. Spent a super half of footy.
And spot on about the tackle efficiency, Jace. They were number 1 in the comp last week with their tackle efficiency. They were making them stick. They're out tackling Essendon by a few in this game. Now Pryor.
But we get the ability to look down the field. There's no work ethic from the players further afield to run into space to give them good options. And you kick into a contest every single time.
That was the debutant Edwards. There's another tackle and another holding the ball.
It's just teams at different levels of development right now.
Yeah,
One's professional, one's up and running, the other's got a lot to learn.
Yeah, but how good is this for Adelaide here? Offence and defence. With the ball and without the ball, the two different areas here, they're absolutely dominant. They've got as big an appetite to try and win the ball back as they have once they got ball in hand, and that is a great song.
Neil Bullen kicked to a contest. Essendon have some numbers out the back. Merritt, Mackay, Perkins. Get around trying to find a way out, but Adelaide so well set defensively, as Gaz just said.
This can't. I mean, they're getting monster too. Ball in the air. Ball. It's hard to watch here for the Bombers. I'm glad.
Well done, Reid. It's been a tough first half.
But no one's got the creativity to work out how to exit the forward 50. It's you do something with it. Quick hand pass. We saw Ben Mackay cop a hand pass before. He said, I don't want it. I'll give it to someone else.
A bit of McGrath and Reid in that as well. You know, your vice captain take responsibility, but hand off.
Keane, they may run out of time. Won't matter anyway. The kick falls inside 50. And it was a dominant display of offensive firepower from the Adelaide Crows in the first half. They led by 15 at quarter time and a dominant second term. Sees them lead by 40. And all the forwards are getting in on the act. Ben Keys has kicked a couple. Rochelle's got a couple. Darcy Fogarty, Rankin, Phil Thorpe. They've all been involved. The prime ball winners, as always, getting plenty of footy. Saligo, Crouch and Dawson. All for the Bombers. It's been tough going. Zach Merritt's tried hard as always. 19 disposals, 1 goal, 1. Caldwell, 13 disposals. And Sam Draper, the only multiple goal scorer with 2 in that first quarter. They've had all the answers here, the Adelaide Crows. It's been a long time since they've won at the MCG. But they are making it at home here. We'll get down to Ben Dixon, who has Zach Merritt with him.
Zach, how have you assessed that first half?
Yeah, I felt they defended pretty well, pretty high, and turned it over and got us all on the rebound. But pulled stuff out pretty poor fundamentals, gave them a lot of opportunity. They're a good team to get in that capitalised.
What about squatty quarter time? Did you talk about your polish, your execution? Was that part of the problem going into the second quarter?
Yeah, a bit of a mess. More back opportunities, which I thought we did. We didn't execute and they did. So big second half coming up. Good luck, mate.
Crows by 40 points at half time after the break. It'll be Gary Lyon and Jason Dunster to talk us through the first half.
All right, there we go. Half time, and I tell you what, Adelaide are looking the masters in this game. They're absolutely dominating in every area. Of course, we'll get back to the commentators in just a moment when they are back. Albert Wilson, how you going there, Squire? Jen Taj, the famous, in the house. Shouty. 11-8-74. The Adelaide Crows doing it very, very comfortably. The Bombers, they're struggling out there. 5-4-34. Of course, the Bombers only putting on 2 goals, 2 in that term. Look at the Adelaide Crows, 6 goals, 3. If you don't mind umpire, wowee. They're looking good. They're continuing off last week's form, the Adelaide Crows. Let's go and have a look now at some of the stats. Let's have a look at the fantasy points. If you play that game, Zachy Merritt and Jordan Dawson both on 70. They're leading the AFL fantasy points. If you play that game, Matty Crouch 64, Ben Keys 64, Matty Crouch 67, and Rochelle, who's having a cracking game, 61. Let's have a quick swing over to the goal scorers. Multiple goal scorers on the ground for the Adelaide Crows. Rochelle and Keys and Fogarty. We've got 3 of them. They're sharing the goals around nicely. Both all with 2 each. Of course, Thilthorpe, Ranky, Neil Bullen, Miller, and Hinge have all got singles for the Crows. Well, the Bombers, not many goal scorers there. Sam Draper doesn't add to his tally at quarter time. He's still got 2. The only multiple goal scorer there for the Bombers, Zachy Merritt, Nick Martin, and Thomas Edwards, all singles there for the Bombers. Leading possession, Zach Merritt. 19 for the Bombers. A little bit slower in that second term. Still not too bad. 11 kicks, 8 handballs. He's kicked a goal. He's doing pretty good. Jordan Dawson, equal top of the table for the Adelaide Crows on 19. 14 kicks, 5 handballs, 4 marks, 2 tackles, 3 clearances. He's going well. Matty Crouch continues to add his total. He's up to 17. Saligo, 16. All right, let's head on down a bit. There we go. Josh Worrell on 12 there for the Crows. Who else we got there? Sam Durham. He's also on 12 for the Bombers. Ranky on 11. Rochelle, he's having a great game down forward there for the Crows. Looking very, very dangerous after his 9 possessions. 7 kicks. He's kicked 2 goals too. Looks pretty good. 6 marks. His mitts are certainly grabbing the ball well today. Dylan Shield still only on the 8. He needs to lift for the Bombers. He needs to direct them in the midfield because they are getting absolutely torn apart. They've been taught a lesson today, aren't the Bombers? And the Adelaide Crows, well, they just look good. The big man, Tex Walker, 7 disposals, 5 kicks. Couple of handballs. He's had 5 marks also, just to behind, though, for Tex. I'm sure Tex will get a couple on the board if the Adelaide Crows keep on their merry way. Exactly the way they're going and progressing so far in this game. I can't see any reason why at the moment the Adelaide Crows would stop in their tracks. They are like the Masters. They got the Puppet Masters. They got the Bombers on a piece of string at the moment. 36 possessions. They're starting to stretch that, starting to take more control there of the ball are the Crows. 38 more kicks. Only a couple handballs down, but the Crows, they're moving the ball fast. They're getting it and kicking it to their leading their leading target, so they're doing good. Have a look at the inside 50s now. 1934. Wow, 15 more inside 50s to the Crows, looking good for their 19 scoring shots. That's pretty good efficiency there. 19 for the Bombers for 9 scoring shots. All right, just before we go any further, let's head back down to the commentators. I'll give it a little bit of analysis of the opening half.
Over, what a feeling. Gary Lyon, hard to see what the Bombers are going to be able to do to get back into this contest.
So two storylines emerging here, and that is how good the Adelaide Crows were, both offensively and defensively. I thought they were superb, but there were Bronx cheers on the siren there from a really disgruntled Essendon faithful. I think right now they'd be really disappointed with the execution, the skill level, and the fact that they're getting scored against so easily.
And we'll show you that, the Host Plus performance of the first half. We're going to focus on the first 3 goals of the second quarter and just how easy it was for the Crows to transition the ball.
Yeah, and the space that they worked into. We know they're undermanned, and Zach Reed's had a hell of a first half, but Darcy Fogarty's just had his way with him in the end. He's just a blindly skilled footballer, goes back and slots that from the boundary, but when the ball's coming in, you can just see the space here. So whether it's running up at the ball, hitting up at the leader, again, Zach Reed gets caught up, Keys gets in behind him, he goes on and kicks a goal, all of a sudden Essendon on the back foot, and then you just watch from a centre square. And when this sort of stuff happens, and you waltz out of the centre circle like Matt Isaac Rankin does on this occasion, and there's a leading lane for Big Riley Thilthorpe. So they're marking the ball running back to goal, they're marking the ball hitting up, and they've got Crummers kicking goals as well. It was a superb performance, and look, maybe they're watching the highlights right now. They look pretty impressed. 8 goals, 5 from turnover.
That's the damning stat, guys. So Brad Scott walks in, he goes, look, it's hard enough as it is, but if we're going to shoot ourselves in the foot and continue to turn the ball over and then get caught on the rebound, we've got no chance.
No, and that's as a result of really good pressure from Adelaide, but we've been so disappointed with the inability of this Essendon side to hit targets. They handball the ball, it goes to ground, and invites pressure. And Adelaide have been able to step up and say, okay, if you want pressure, we'll give it to you.
The skipper's done all he can for the Bombers. He hasn't had enough mates going along for the ride.
He hasn't, Jace. There was about a 5-minute patch where they kicked 2 back-to-back goals in that second quarter, and he was the one who said, right, I've had enough of this. He's kicked the goal. He's had 19 possessions. He ran himself absolutely ragged. He's been untidy as well, to be fair. But his efforts to work hard defensively and try and put some pressure resulted in this goal. And then for a little period of time, the rest of them got on board with him, but he hasn't had enough to come along with him, and he's been a little bit of a culprit in terms of the way they've executed.
Yeah, a lot still to play out here. Big second half coming up at the MCG, and a big coaches' night Monday night on 360. You and Jared will be joined by Brad Scott, who's got his hands full at the moment, and also Adam Uze.
All right, we'll be back in just a moment after they've had that little bit of a break. Now, where were we? Let's continue on. Let's have a little bit of a look at these team stats there as we're going on at the moment. And, of course, Adelaide getting well on top in every department in this game so far, folks. So far. Disposal efficiency. Bombers haven't improved. They've actually dropped by 1%, where Adelaide have lifted their percent by 5%. So they're hitting on the yearly average so far, doing good. I'm sure that's going to improve. Efficiency inside 50. There we go. Bombers just a little bit under, not too bad. I'm sure they'll improve that with a few more scoring shots, but Adelaide going well. 55.9. Yeah, that's pretty good efficiency inside 50. As we said, they've had inside 50 34 times for 19 scoring shots. Tell you what, yeah, it's pretty hard to do much better than that. And the Bombers are just lucky that the Adelaide Crows, well, they've missed a few. 11 goals, 8. This could be embarrassing for the Bombers. But knowing football, anything can happen. The Bombers could come back with a burst. We've seen it happen once or twice before. Free kicks all levelling up a little bit now. 10-8, +2 to the Crows. I said down to the hit-outs where it was all pretty even at quarter time. It's still a little bit the same at half time. It's Adelaide +3 there, +2 in the clearances for the Crows, and +2 in the centre clearances. Stoppage clearances all tied up there. Possessions, well, contested. Yeah, look, both contesting the ball reasonably well there. Adelaide, of course, doing it a little bit better. They are the masters of today's game in this match. 13 ahead there in the contested. Uncontested, just controlling the ball, as I said, a quarter time. 23 up there. Turnovers, both teams reasonably high in the turnovers there. Look at the marks, though. 35-65. Wowee. Bombers way under. Bombers just need to get the ball in their hands, just slow the game down a little bit, take a bit of time away from Adelaide Crows, keep possession, and try and get the game back on their terms. Where Adelaide, 65 marks, they're just finding every opponent. Marks inside 50, you're not going to see any more dominant than that. 1, Bombers, 10, Adelaide. Adelaide are just creating space, folks. They're just creating space. Forwards are, leading out, opening the ground up, and of course Adelaide are hitting him. That's they're getting good ball into the forward line. There we go. The tackle count a little bit low because there's a bit of an open game here today. 29-26. There we go. I'm sure the game will slow down just a bit coming into the third and fourth quarter. Pretty high-paced game so far. Tackles inside 50 though. Bombers, they're up on a stat 6-3. Good job. Keep that up, Bombers. Keep that up. All right, we're only 7 and a bit minutes away from the bounce of the ball for the third quarter. Coming into the second half here. We'll be back in just a moment when the commentators are back and they'll take us through a little bit more.
A dominant display by the Adelaide Crows in the first half. 6 goals to 2. Second quarter sees them lead by 40 points at the MCG. The Bombers have some work to do. Jason Dunstall, Gary Lyon, or a couple of Bombers that we think we need to step up.
Well, there's a lot of them, Gaz. A lot of them.
We got young and old. Well, young in that caddy he's had just the 2 touches, James.
And it's tough on him because
Of course it is.
There's nothing happening in terms of the methodology going forward.
That's right. The criticism's not that he hasn't found it. He's just got to get them all contests and just create a little bit of chaos. And then the class factor for them is Nick Martin, who's had 9 but has a real impact. So he's got to get on board. But we could have picked, 14.
Dylan Shields, another he's only had the 8. Hasn't really set anything up. Yep.
So they've got to get themselves involved. They've got to, from a pressure point of view, they get it for about 4 minutes. They've got to get more of that. Adelaide kicked 21 goals last year. They're on their way again. They kicked 11 and a half. It's outstanding.
So the big test for the Bombers is, can we stop the pros playing the game that they're playing, and can they be cleaner with the ball? That's what I want to see from Essendon. Give themselves a chance by handling the ball cleanly and making better decisions with the footy.
Jordan Dawson had some sort of a half.
Yep.
So 19 touches, put inside 57 times. Sam Durham running with him for a while, but was ineffectual.
We'll see if we get an Essendon comeback. Show some fight and spirit. Zach Merritt will start at half forward. Perkins has been thrown into the first bounce of the second half. Durham will win the clearance. Caldwell almost run down by Peatling. There is Caddy. Right on cue.
Good kick. Good hit up on the lead.
We have seen he does have the leg from here. He decides to give it a crack. Didn't quite strike it as well as he'd like, and we'll get a throw in.
The problem is there are no tools to kick to. Once Caddy comes out, there's nothing there. And you're going to Gresham in a one-on-one in the pocket, which isn't a marking option.
An opportunity early for Essendon. They try and build some pressure. Short throw in. The ruck's got a long way back, so ground ball to be won. Miller up. Standing start. Walker just attacked it harder than anyone else. And then looks up and strange option. Decided to kick the grass when Essendon had 2 sitting back.
That's his man, actually. So Draper was the ruckman that he went to Walker and left Redmond back in the hole, and Big Texan kicked it straight to him.
There's Martin. Another play you want to see lift it. Caddy again. So
2 contests, Joey. That's it. It doesn't matter if you get it or not. Just get to more contests.
A bit fortunate there, though, because the kick missed the mark.
back to Martin. Brian offers a lead short and getting in front of that lead.
So the first time they've been able to identify something easy going forward. Can Caldwell supply what would be a great finish from 50 on a pretty tight angle.
So when you're chasing down 40 points, Jazz, these are the goals you just got to kick. And I know they're not easy. It's an easy thing for us to say. But the opportunities that present themselves, you just got to grab them.
He'll be right on the edge of his distance range, I suspect.
I mentioned how well he played last week. His best on ground that loss. He's been solid again today. But they really need to step up and show some leadership. And that's exactly what he does.
Well, he had the range with a couple of metres to spare. Struck it beautifully. And as he said, guys, you're looking for a lift. The team's looking for something to get their teeth into. What can we hang on to? Right, we've got the first goal. Now we try to build momentum. We go back, try and win the next centre clearance. But a great little hit up for the first time.
Yeah, so that was the class we talked about. Nick Martin, who needs to find more of it, and his work needs to end up in scores.
Yep.
So some good little signs here early. You just got to chip away here one at a time. Crows have had answers all afternoon, but the first goal of the second half goes to Essendon. They've got a few different looks in the middle of the ground. You mentioned Archie Perkins goes in there, Caldwell goes back. Let's see if they can get another one. Go back to back again.
Caldwell at the big finish. He's certainly become a really solid wingman for Zach Merritt on ball. And they start getting on top, win some centre clearance. Saligo was super, particularly in that second quarter. Kick off the ground, only as far as Dursma. He wants to play on and kick it into an open forward line. Bryant's going to attack it hard. He took it well, the big man. What a gather! And that is something almost very special from the young ruck.
Just didn't get the bounce. I thought it was actually a chance of taking the mark. If he kept going hard, perhaps the diving chest mark, but he was able to gather, create a bit of space and get the snap. That would have been what they needed to really get them going.
Positive signs though early in this third quarter. Merritt. Which way's the whistle going to go? It's going to go to Merritt.
So again, win the footy back. It was Dursman the other side of the ground. Now Merritt wins it. Back they go inside 50.
Darts a ball for Kako. He got hands to it. Now they can apply some pressure. This is bread and butter for Gresham. Good energy to start the third quarter. Crowd are back up and about. 2 in a row.
So finally some ground ball presence inside 50. And it looked like Caddy had made a good lead to Merritt. He ignored it because he saw where Kako was going. And the kick to Kako is a really good one. He knows the young guy's got speed. He put it on the plate. He wasn't able to hang on to it. But for the first time, pressure on the ground ball. Adelaide not able to mop it up. And then Gresham gets the goal. So there's 2 good ones in a row.
And your point about the pressure's the key here. Yeah, they look like Superman Adelaide in the first half. They look like that all the time in the world. We're hitting targets everywhere. They're human. You get some heat on them. You get some heat on them and all of a sudden a missed handball in the back half becomes a really easy goal for Jay Gresham. So invest your time on the pressure. Get the easy result back in the middle. Had a couple of wins out of the centre here.
4 inside 50s to 0. Exactly the start they wanted in their third quarter, Essendon.
Back in the middle, Draper. Archie Perkins worked Dawson off it, well done. Merritt, high ball. All the smalls are floating around. Now Miller up. And enough time and space to go looking for O'Brien, almost from Pryor. Keys felt the pressure, just threw it on the boot. Philthorpe lopes after it. He's got a couple of metres on Mackay. Wheels, and then they start queuing up in the corridor. That was too easy.
Yeah, and this is the test. We spoke about they kicked the first couple of goals. You've had the first 4 inside 50s. But what happens when you don't win it? Can you defend when the ball's coming the other way? Ben Mackay just trails in Riley Philthorpe. He just lopes out to the ball. He wants to corral Mackay, so Philthorpe's able to turn around, have a look, and he's got 2 or 3 players streaming into space because they haven't worked hard enough defensively, the Bombers.
So you've got to be, it's got to be a complementary effort.
It's got to be manic from everyone.
Yes, so Ben Mackay just didn't have the urgency.
2 goals 2 this afternoon for Ben Keys. That is a genuine floater that goes straight over the goal umpire's head.
That's nearly the worst thing I've ever seen go through.
You were watching him in the pre-game, Jason. You said that he had 15 shots and didn't get close to any of them.
He didn't.
Well, he did then. He went right through the middle.
Spun forwards end over end.
You've got a short memory, Chief. You said 500 of those.
He got too close to the man on the mark. He went out to the left and then just a mongrel floater. But have a look how easy he turns around. And look at the arms up.
Yeah.
They're everywhere. Where are their opponents?
Well, this is the thing. So you had back-to-back goals in the second quarter. Merritt to Martin. They closed it to 20 points and then bang, they gave up 3 more. They got back-to-back at the start of the third quarter.
Oh, look at that.
And then the first opportunity, it goes the other way. Keysy puts through an absolute magnificent drop spiral.
It's turned into a banana.
It all counts. He's got 3. Leading goal scorer on the ground. They got the quick reply, Adelaide. That was a throw. Tunnel ball from Isaac Rankin. Elijah Sardis coming up for disposal. Number 13, he's been busy. 5 clearances. Pryor. He just tries to kick that as far and as long as he can. It's an inside 50. It doesn't really favour the forwards. Miller up. That's a good kick. Michael Lenny. Portion of this game's been played on this outer side wing at the MCG. Kick to a contest. There was an arm over the shoulder from Philthorpe.
I know Ben Mackay got a couple of volunteers in the first half. He hasn't been the major problem by any stretch.
No, he hasn't been terrible in the one-on-one contest.
Kick looking for Dursmer and he'll get another free kick. So opportunity here to build some pressure, find a mark inside 50.
Draper's got himself deep in the goal square.
Caddy also at the top of the square. Jones has pushed forward from the wing. The kick will go to all those boys. Can anyone take a contested mark? Ground level. Caddy, the youngster. Oh, another close miss. First Brian and now Caddy.
He looks like he's been given a little bit of a reminder of just effort, and his effort has been really good. Gresham's effort's been much better in the first few minutes of this second. I don't know what takes a half for Jay Gresham. He's played enough footy.
They need to stop Adelaide, though, moving the ball. Got a stoppage on the wing. It's already 2 goals, 2-1 straight in this third quarter. Crouch. Controlled the ball, got it to Scholl. Kick won't be 15, so Draper went by hand. Merritt made it difficult for Caldwell. Again, good pressure from Adelaide and Dawson. Another kick to centre half forward. Walker just worried out of it. Shield had some moments. That was better on the handball. Put Pryor under all sorts of pressure. And Adelaide, they sniff blood. The snap from Neil Bullen outside of the boot. Couldn't finish.
Well, it's an inexperienced back half that just, again, as you said earlier, JC, you're just handing pressure to your mate. So I don't want the pressure. Dylan Shields, don't let me try and exit out of here. Let you.
But he's the one that's been moved there to take charge and to work out how they're going to exit the ball from the defensive 50 and turn defence into attack.
Walker and Draper. McGrath keeps it like Neil Bullen. Great ball control. And then tried to create something inside 50. Redmond read it. There's Matthew Nix in his 6th season. And 3 wins, 7 wins, 8 wins, 11 wins before that 8.5-win season last year. But he's got his team humming early this season. Draper just booted that to the spare Adelaide defender in Murray. And they'll spread the field. Michael goes wide to Miller. Scholes worked hard to present. The kick will get to him now. Essendon fall back. So Scholl takes some grass. They've wanted the lead all day. That's a kick for Dawson.
67 uncontested marks, Joey, to 35. So you're right. They've presented hard and they've been rewarded.
Another 3-quarter kick. Flyers come. Ground level. Essendon have to figure their way out. Xavier Dursman's been an option down in that wing most of the afternoon. Gresham has Perkins running hard. Ignores him and comes inboard. Caldwell now gets to the Perkins, who can run and bounce, but he looks up and sees Worrell sitting back as the spare. Tries to kick it over his head. Merritt has 2 to beat. That was always going to be a tough ask.
That was a poor option. Yeah, you can identify there was a spare down there and kicks us at one of the smallest on the field. Poor.
Yeah, even if you hold on and go backwards, Tico, I couldn't agree more. You kick into a small on baller against 2 key defenders.
And now the Crows transitions on again. Space everywhere. Rankin Keys has found plenty inside 50 today. And he squares it up. The umpire said no 15. Curtin, that was harsh. Curtin back to Keys. A little underground for Rochelle. Normally clever. Trying to go with a left foot check side.
So the last 2 times they've exited, Sam Draper just kicked it to a 2-on-1, and then the Zach Merritt one. You've got to do your work early. You've got to look up the ground now, and know what's ahead of the ball, so that if you do get in, that's 3-on-1 down the line. You know you can't kick the ball long down the line.
Curtin will do some ruck work inside the forward 50 against Draper. Draper with the advantage. Picked off from Keys, who's having himself an afternoon. He's kicked 4, and he's popped up.
You swear that Sam Draper was tapping that ball to Ben Keys. That's what it looked like. They looked like they were on the same wavelength. Draper hits the ball back towards goal, which is interesting in itself. And he gets plenty on it and puts it right out in front of the running Keys, who's the one bursting through the stoppage. So Draper gets the good hit down there, and he just bursts on it. If that was teammate to teammate, you'd say that's the best planned tap in a forward 50 you've seen.
And Jackson Pryor won't like it. He was the one who just trailed in the end. He's been outstanding. So the thing about Ben Keys is we know how honest he is. But he presents, he just keeps working. He's on the move constantly. He doesn't just stand still. He's kicked 4 for the afternoon and probably could have had 6, to be honest.
Well, he polled the 3 Brownlow votes in that win, round 20 last year. He kicked 5 and had 22
And he,
in the shootout against Essendon.
he plays a new role now, Charlie, and he's turned himself into a goal kicking forward, high half forward.
He said 34 goals last year, second most for the club. 4 today. Shield, long ball, and again, well done.
Well, that is a sensational.
Rock solid back there, Adelaide. And again, the ball use to an outlet was beautiful. Reid again trying to take front position, and again, Fogarty outmarks him. Crouch wants it, although he's going to be on his right. He wants to come back on the left, and he's done that so often. That's the dinky little kick to his best mate, Tex.
Once they go inside forward 50, the options open up everywhere. They have taken 13 uncontested marks in their forward 50.
Every time someone's turned to come back inside in their attacking zone, there's been a player easily hittable.
13 uncontested, Jakes, to 3.
Which is a lack of work ethic defensively from the opposition.
Tex thought he'd kicked one from a similar spot in the first quarter. It just faded, and this one just fades back enough. He has got his first, and all the forwards are getting in on the act.
Well, it's the same situation as has happened previously. They kicked 2 in a row in the first quarter, and you think, oh, they're back in the contest. Then they gave up 4 unanswered. Then they kicked 2 in a row in the second quarter, 3 unanswered. 2 in a row, Essendon kick at the start of this quarter. Now they've given up 3 unanswered. So they can't sustain it for long enough. And Zach Reid's tape is going to be so imperative for him going forward on Monday when the forward line coach sits down with him and looks at the way that Fogarty's been able to outmanoeuvre him. It's been huge, Fogarty. Tex, you'd love him kicking for your life if you had to. And they've been impressive. As I said, 21 goals they kicked last week. They got 14 goals and still 11 minutes to go in the third quarter.
Congratulations to Tex Walker. Today's game qualifies him for AFL Life membership. Crows all-time leading goal scorer. Still going strong. Sardis with another clearance. It's another poor inside 50 though. It doesn't favour Edwards. Kicked the goal with his first kick in footy in the first quarter. Dersma. Pryor. His kick not going anywhere. And again, Crows jumpers everywhere. Shoal. It's another one-on-one. Tex just worked Redmond off it easy. And then Wheels. The chemistry with the forwards is on points. And there is another uncontested mark. This time it's Curtin.
It's rare to see a forward line with so many tools that has operated. They've basically operated independently of each other. They've created space. They've adopted the role of going up or going deep, and they've alternated who does what. But they've used the ball beautifully when they've won it. And they've continued to link up. There's really good chemistry and synergy between this forward mix.
Of course, the Big 8, the 2023 draft, the 7 games in his debut season. Looking to build on it in his second season. And he also joins the party. It's raining goals at the MCG.
Now this will show you the difference between these two sides and where they're at. They just stacked and loaded forward of the ball, and their ability to execute and isolate and find a target. And at the other end of the ground, the Munnings warehouse build-up is it just comes from back half, and you'll see this here. So ball gets turned over in the back half, away they go, and then ahead of the footy, you just got them everywhere. And he gets manhandled there again. Tex Walker turns and goes. Curtin reads it beautifully. And then they're finishing. When you got blokes that kick for goal like Tex Walker, like Darcy Fogarty, and then that there from Dan Curtin, that suggests 15 goals, 8. You've got to make the most of your opportunities. Exciting for Adelaide. They look like they are on.
And exciting for Dan Curtin. First time on the MCG. There are 13 Crows out here today that have never won a game of footy at the MCG. It might be a different story in about an hour's time. Another centre clearance for the Bombers. Keane, Edwards, worked him under it and tied him up. The umpire, as he said, he's will be holding the ball.
It's a hell of a debut game for Tommy Edwards, but what he has done, he's competed. And every time the ball's down there, he's played like a 24-year-old who's been waiting all his life to play AFL footy, and that's a great thing.
And 3 tackles for Tom Edwards. Only Harrison Jones has more for the Bombers. He's only had the 1 kick for 1 goal. Can he make it 2 from 2? The young man from Swan District screws it around, not enough.
Didn't quite make the right contact. Put it a little bit too close to the belly. But he's just going to keep presenting, keep competing. show them what he's capable of doing. Get some games under his belt. It's a tough apprenticeship when you're in games like this as a youngster or as an inexperienced player.
Of course, came in for Kyle Langford, who's going to miss 4 to 6 weeks with a hamstring injury. Essendon are missing probably up to 8 of their best 23. No Ridley with concussion. I mentioned Langford, Parrish a couple of weeks away. So's Laverde with hip flexor. Guelphy a bit longer with a hamstring. Nick Cox with his concussion issues. Peter Wright also with an ankle concern is still a few weeks away. So they are missing a fair few of their starting lineup. Adelaide, of course, full bill of health. They do not have one injury on their list. And they are humming at the moment. Peatling, Neil Bullen couldn't get it to Crouch. Well, he did enough to dispossess Durham. And again, they're away and running. They're queuing up inboard. He looks forward for Peatling. Short lead off it from Dawson. Again, they honour that lead up. And he's going to wheel. We know he's got a lethal leg. He had short Michael Annie. Instead, he tried to go deeper.
One thing that's really impressed from the Crows today, we saw Neil Bullen turn it over on the wing with a poor hand pass. But as soon as they turn it over, the desire to win the ball back, to put pressure and not let the opposition sweep it away and hurt them on turnovers being first rate.
See Draper and Jai Menzie, the subs for the two sides, still not activated. No real injury concerns for either team in this one.
So looking at Harrison Jones, had 3 possessions for the game. So you talk about Langford goes out. He's 196 centimetres, Harry Jones. He's going to get himself involved somehow.
There he is, able to get the hands free. The kick from Roberts. Might come back. Draper lost his footing. Laird went hard. Neil Bullen, chain of handballs. Rochelle, did he have a quick looking ball? It doesn't matter. He's got the check side and the celebration to match. He's kicked 3 and he's loving it out there. He's had a red hot start to the season.
Celebration befitting the goal, Gaz. It was a good one.
Well, he sums up pretty quickly. I'll give him a pass that he looks inside, but he does discount him pretty quickly, Jace.
It's a quick look.
He has a very quick look, and then he thinks if there's not someone absolutely on their own, then leave it to me. And the finish was absolutely outstanding. They're queuing up right now.
There's corridor options there, but I love the way they worked the boundary. They had 4 players in close.
I don't think he did.
Not even 3 single one.
I'm not sure he did, look, to be honest. But the finish was exciting. Gee, exciting. 16 goals, still got time in the third quarter. It's Rochelle, it's Fogarty, it's Stillthorpe, it's Walker, and we haven't even spoken about Rankin.
The talls and smalls all getting in on it. 7 between Keys and Rochelle. They've notched up the triple figures. Still 8 minutes to go in the third quarter. And they are patrolling every facet of the game. Michael Annis, an excellent afternoon. And Rochelle again, breaking the space. A little shimmy. Then slipped the Merritt. Hard running Saligo. Rankin just biding his time. Waiting for the handball receive. Took a bounce. Tex wants it deep. Rankin wants to back himself. And he wants a highlight reel to match. He says, whatever you can do, Rochelle, I can do better. They are putting on a clinic at the MCG.
That's just showing off, Joe.
But you can't explain how highly skilled that is. When you've got Andrew McGrath hot on your hammer, who is not slow, you are running flat stick. You are treading on the boundary line. You are bouncing the ball. And without breaking stride, you are kicking with no angle between the sticks.
He doesn't look like he's running hard. Look at him. He's just taking his time. He's on the boundary where the 50 intercepts the boundary and the 50-metre arc. And he bangs it through goal post high. Why wouldn't you be laughing, Matthew Nix?
Degree of difficulty ridiculous.
Just mentioned that we hadn't talked about Isaac Rankin. He must have heard it. He said, I'm going to have a piece of this if you don't mind.
He saw everyone else having a good time. He said, get me in on that. 14 disposals, a couple of clearances, 2 goals for Rankin. This is fun to watch, except if you're an Essendon fan. Saligo, his handball picked off. Another centre clearance. The Bombers are getting the ball in deep. It was Brian again. Kako, and a tough afternoon for him.
So we've waxed lyrical about all the forwards and why wouldn't you? But I'll tell you what, this back six, I know they're up against an inexperienced forward line, but they've been super impressive. Michael Annie and Murray, Keane doesn't get beaten. They just, Worrell is in there as well.
Big pack of players, and Phil Thorpe just stands tall in all of them. And it's another kick for Dawson. Walk up, back position. McGrath, now Shield. Has time and space. Has to pick the right option. Handball got to Sardis. Trying hard is Durham. Well done from Phil Thorpe. Edwards. Too hot to handle for him at the MCG right at the moment. Adelaide full of running. Peatling. Saligo in board. Oh, met solely by Durham, who's trying to lift his side. Saligo might be hurt.
Sam Durham's having a red on.
He's not putting up with it. Just needs some teammates to get on board. Sardis over the top. Kako. Can he break free? He tries. He does. He spins. There's a little bit of something from the young man. But go back to Sam Durham and his effort to force the turnover. And Kako with a nice finish for his first of the afternoon.
And it was interesting watching that Durham tackle in the middle. He wanted it to be physical. And he carried on with it.
Sorry, Jason, just first. That's your 6'8", 6'7" full forward
Yep.
chasing down the middle, and then this from Durham.
And the umpire puts the whistle to his mouth because he sees him throw. He was about to ping him for carrying on with a tackle too long, but he put the whistle away, and that allowed the ball to go forward. And you got to love Kako. Every time we see him, we're excited by what we see. He's going to be so much fun to watch in the coming years.
I love watching players when their team, when everything's going against them, right? So it was 10 goals. And then you watch Sam Durham's last 3 or 4 minutes, and then you find out what you've got at your disposal. There's a proud footballer who's refusing to concede, and he is one that's giving his all. Saligo just sits to go and be all over that. There's an issue there. Hope it's not.
You felt that one, Saligo. Adelaide with his centre clearance. Essendon have won the clearance battle this quarter pretty convincingly, not on that occasion. Rankin just puts it to the advantage of Fogarty and said, here you go.
The thing of beauty, Joey, to watch not only the skill set of all these guys, but at their connection and how they know where they want it. Like that kick is put, it's like, don't move, Darcy, I'll just put it where you need to be, and then Darcy moves after it. So we saw it with Tex and Curtin earlier. It's a beautiful thing to watch.
He's a great exponent of the set shot. Fogarty not on that occasion. That's as bad as you'll see from him.
They couldn't keep kicking it from ridiculous things. They had to miss one. But the conversion's been increasing.
They've taken another 21 uncontested marks in the quarter, Adelaide, to 6.
Shield just tries to pop it up for Harry Jones, but Cumming held him down, and Michael Annie.
Super impressive.
Another intercept mark.
Super impressive.
He now goes into the pocket. Tex couldn't take the mark, tried to get the handball through to Rochelle, but Merritt was there. Martin under pressure, gets it back. And now Brian, the big man, has to squeeze a little ball, 50-50 ball for Gresham. Wall wraps him up.
So Adelaide have activated their sub. Saligo goes out of the game, and Sid Draper comes in.
Looking forward to seeing this man go as well. The Adelaide Crows first round pick, taken early. He's captain of their South Australian under-18 team. Huge raps on him.
Step on the MCG for the first time in an AFL game. A buzz for him. He'll have plenty to offer, you'd feel.
And that's a luxury the Crows have with a healthy list. Saligo gets knocked, so we'll just give him a spell. They have a spell because he's playing brilliantly. He's going to be a gun mid for him all year. And then they get some time into Draper.
And we don't see too many Sids play either, so
No, been a while.
for a while. So that's got to be a good thing.
Been one since Sid Coventry.
Sid Jackson.
Sid Jackson.
Yeah.
I've been told by their fitness staff, if you think Isaac Rankin's got a step, watch this kid. I reckon his agility is outstanding.
Put a touch of pressure on him early, Dicko. Just a better step than Isaac Rankin.
Yeah, he's a powerful young man. O'Brien, the tap down Dawson. Been enormous again, disposal 25. Crouch continuing to rack up the footy. Neil Bullen in a one-on-one. Another boundary throw-in. Tex thought he was held. Jordan Dawson leading the way. 25 disposals, 10 inside 50s, 5 clearances. Crouch 23, and as we just said, Saligo coming off with 21 disposals. And Ben Keys has been the man, 4 goals to go along with his 16 possessions. Durham, we mentioned him trying to lift his side this quarter. Perkins, he moved on ball. McGrath.
Pressure again.
And a tough afternoon. Roberts, good composure, held his nerve, got it back to Perkins. Now McGrath and Caldwell. So they've got the overlap, although he didn't use it, Caldwell, because he saw Draper get behind his opponent. Got 2 hands to it. Umpire paid the mark. Draper went on anyway. Edwards, his kick. Merritt. This time he goes alone. That's why he is a superstar. Great finish from Zach Merritt. He's kicked his second to go along with 26 disposals. He's tried his hardest as always.
We've seen an array of goals today, haven't we? Some pretty special ones. This is a great snap. I think he got paid the mark, Draper, but he wasn't sure, so he played on with the hand pass, and then the kick coming forward's a scrubby one, as we've seen a few of, but he eventually gets the ball, and we were critical earlier in the game. He squared one up when we perhaps thought he should have snapped. That one, I didn't know if he was in a position to snap, but he kicks a miracle goal.
He looked like he'd had enough. He said, I'm not handling this one. Last time I did this, nothing happened, so I'll take it upon myself and kick one of the great goals amongst many. There's been plenty, as Jason said. It's been a bit of a clinic from a goal kicking point of view.
There's been a switcheroo, boys, with the Adelaide sub. Now it's actually Isaac Rankin who's coming out of the game in terms of Sligo.
Interesting. So Isaac Rankin has been subbed out. He'll sit with his 2 goals and 15 disposals. And Saligo's okay to resume. Leg, got around one, couldn't get around the second. Pressure from Gresham. Oh, again, able to find the uncontested mark, Scholl. And here is the young man, Draper. His first touch goes looking for his big ruckman. Rochelle's also there. O'Brien did enough to tap it back to Draper. He wanted to put the step on, couldn't quite. Now Caldwell, Draper, Redmond went for the fend off. Crouch did enough. Worrell, Neil Bullen, and again they're on short. Keys wanted it. He was open for a long time. Instead, they just honour the lead of Phil Thorpe. The execution going inside 50 has been as good as you'll see. And Phil Thorpe will line up for his second.
16 inside 50 marks. That's a return. When you've got the weapons, that's one thing. But when you make the most of them, you get a result like we're seeing unfold today. And this is 16 for the big fella. He's led the way.
Straight in front. He just sneaks it home.
No, behind.
No, flipped the post in it. Sorry, Dicko. Just.
He was celebrating with teammates.
Yeah,
Still thought.
Phil Thorpe. 17-9. And another big quarter for the Adelaide Crows. And a 6-goal term to go with the 6 in the first.
There's been very little purpose coming out of defence for the Bombers. It's been kick and hope every time they exit.
Miller finds Dawson again.
29th possession coming up. He's put inside 50. This is the 11th inside 50.
And 21 of them have been kicks. Goes right to the goal line. Both Phil Thorpe and Fogarty not happy. They want it out of the top of the square.
Hard to please those blokes.
I like that.
Yeah, I did too.
And you're saying it to the skipper.
Yeah,
Saying,
I did.
hey, that's not what we want the ball.
Yeah, no, I did too.
Aggression. Steps around Keys and they're going to have to try and find an option running back towards goal. Caddy's tried to lift his intensity this quarter. It's been a tough game for the Bombers forwards. Just 33 entries for the game. There is Isaac Rankin. His job's done. Hopefully no injury concern, just complete precaution for a man that's had some injury concerns with his hammies.
I think Big Texan sat, didn't he, for the last part of the game last week as well. So looking after your assets.
Crouch. Away and running still. Well done from Reid. Of course, the Bombers back up again next Thursday night. They play Port Adelaide at Marvel Stadium before they have their bye. And Adelaide will head home to take on North Melbourne next Sunday before a trip to the Gold Coast. An opportunity 3 the next 4 at the Adelaide Oval for the Crows. They've got a nice start to the season. They're in blistering form.
Where did you have them pre-season, Gaz? The Crows, where did you rate them?
I'd like to say that I had the foresight to put them in at top 8. I don't think I did, Jason.
I know it's only, we don't quite know the quality of St Kilda and Essendon as yet, but has what you've seen got you to change what you're thinking about?
As Thilthorpe takes another contested mark.
Well, this is what's got me excited today, is watching this. Again, we can all have our biases, but I just love forwards who play and take the game on and refuse to be dictated to by opposition. Now, this Essendon backline is almost a shell of what we hope to be able to put out, but the way they've connected with each other in this game, these forwards, tall and small, has been an absolute delight to watch.
Well, after the three-quarter time siren, they kick 7 for the quarter. And they are making a powerful statement, the Adelaide Crows. 18 goals, a quarter to play, and they lead by 57 points. They are putting on a show at the MCG. It's been an excellent display, and of course, straight after this, we will head to the Adelaide Oval. All eyes on Port Adelaide as they respond against the plucky Tigers. That's coming up right after this.
Well, folks, it continues. This onslaught continues here at the MCG. Adelaide 18-10, 118. The Bombers 9-7, 61. Although the Bombers actually had control of this game for about the first 3 minutes of the third quarter, the Adelaide Crows quickly turned the switch and took control back. Bombers putting on 4 goals, 3 in that third term. But the Adelaide Crows 7 goals, 2. Just can't be matched today. The Crows look on song. They look like they are playing well as a team. They just know where each other is. There's no fumbling. Everything's clean. They look good. Addy G says Adelaide is a contender this year. I know it's only early days. We're going to see if they can hold their form throughout the season. And of course, injuries come into it. They stay injury-free. They could go a fair way if they continue this type of form, the Adelaide Crows this year. They do look good out there. Tell you what, one thing, they look like they're enjoying their footy, the Adelaide Crows. Definitely a lot of celebrations after each goal. All the players getting around each other, high-fiving, slap on the rump. They're doing good. I'll tell you what, very, very impressive today by Adelaide Crows. Essendon certainly needs to go away after this game, study the tapes and have a look and have a good think about what they're doing. All right, let's go and have a look. Just have a quick look at the AFL fantasy points. 107 each of 2. Matty Crouch, Jordan Dawson, Ben Keys, 104. The rest under that. Goal scorers, Benny Keys, there he is. 4 goals, 2. Oh, wow-wee. He's having a cracker. He gets the ball in his hands. He's dangerous. 16 disposals for Ben Keys for 4 goals, 2. Very good. Josh Rochelle, 3 goals, 2 on the scoreboard for him. Riley Thilthorpe, 2 goals, 1. Isaac Ranke, 2 goals, 1. Darcy Fogarty, 2 goals, 1. They are the multiple goal scorers for Adelaide. Tex Walker, Neil Bullen, Wayne Malera, of course, and Mitchell Hinge. Is there any more? I'll tell you what, there's a lot of goal scorers out there today. Daniel Curtin, single goal scorers there for the Crows. For the Bombers, though, Zach Merritt, Sam Draper, the multiple goal scorers, 2 each for those boys. And, of course, Nick Martin, Kako, a nice bullocking way through and a snap, kicking the goal for the Bombers with Gresham and Edwards and Cadell. Caldwell, I should say. They're the goal scorers so far for the match. If you put a little bet on or something, how many goals they're going to score, that's the case. If you're looking at the stats, leading the way, Jordan Dawson, as he has been doing most of the day, on 29, 21 kicks, 8 handballs, 6 marks, 3 tackles, 5 clearance, and a great game. Zach Merritt, though, he's having a reasonably good game. He's trying hard for the Bombers on 26 disposals, 15 kicks. He's kicked 2 goals, 1, as I said, with 11 marks, 11 handballs, 2 marks, 2 tackles, 3 clearances. So going quite well. Matty Crouch also going well for the Crows on 25. Jai Caldwell 24 for the Bombers. Saligo 21. There we go. We'll just roll down the board a little bit. Andy McGrath 16 there for the Bombers. Isaac Ranke. I think they said Ranke was subbed off. I'm pretty sure that was the one. The sub was made there for Adelaide. 15 disposals he ended up with as we keep on rolling down. Dylan Shield quiet in that third term there for the Bombers. Still on the 13. Rochelle on 12 for Adelaide. Ben Hobbs 11 there for the Bombers as we keep on going down. Check out your players, see what stats they've got for this afternoon up until 3/4 time. Sam Draper, who started off well, he's hasn't really been seen much in the rest of the game up until now. All right, we have got 1 minute to go before the bounce of the ball. Oh, there we go. Maybe, why is that? And let me just have a look. 45. Oh, there we go. Now it's back. Don't forget to put in a poll vote. Who do you think's going to win? I know the margin's pretty big, but we've got 65% saying Adelaide's going to win this game, and it certainly does look like that. Can the Bombers show a little bit of fight in this final term? We yet to see that. Can the Crows extend their lead and get over the 20-goal mark? All right, let's head back down to the ground. The bounce of the ball in just a few moments' time.
Sees place on Fogarty, but what's happening in the forward line as we speak, and you can't see, is the work rate to get in and out and isolate the space. You can see here the ball's held up, but the inside ball to Tex Walker opens up. This one here goes over to Tex Walker, but you can see down the field they're isolating, they're in and out, they're working hard, engaging the defence of Essendon, and bang, Curtin gets on the end of it. They're sharing it around. Everyone's having their turn. Neil Buller the same. Look at the leading lane. Everyone's out. They know that Phil thought this is your go in through. This is beautiful forward craft.
Yeah, 17 inside 50 marks to 3 for the game.
Right.
Says it all.
But that's a combination of personnel, of system, and of the way you're moving the ball.
And those 17 marks have led to 13 goals from set shots. It's been awesome to watch.
That's another part, Joey. I think that they've got going.
Merritt, he's already kicked 2. Make it 3. He's a special talent. He'll keep trying. He will not give up. And that is why he's a 5-time Essendon Ferris winner, 3-time All-Australian. He's got 27 to go with those 3 goals.
It's his work rate, isn't it? He always puts himself in the mix. He doesn't know how to give up. He leads by example. He just hasn't had enough teammates go along for the ride today, but he just continues to enhance his own brand every time you see him, Zach Merritt.
He does. So here he is he breaks from centre bounce, gets the first possession, and then runs straight past and says, give it to me again, because no one else seems to be able to do what I'm being able to do. It's a great finish. And for all of a sudden, for him to be going forward and be able to hit the scoreboard in the manner that he has, 3 goals, just another string to his bow. Which sees him as the very best, one of the very best of this midfield group in the competition. 3 goals from the middle.
Essendon have activated their sub, so Nate Caddy's out of the game and Jai Menzies comes in.
And the 4th time in his career, Zach Merritt's kicked 3 or more goals in a game. He kicked 2 last week. And he's pushing forward. I don't think he can add another string to his bow. They started well in the 3rd term too, Essendon. Adelaide had all the answers. Hinge over the head of Phil Thorpe. Mackay couldn't bring it down. Phil Thorpe goes and mops up. Gives it to Saligo, who'll stroll in for an easiest goal of the afternoon. He's first for the day. And he's got 23 disposals, but well done, Riley Phil Thorpe.
Yeah, winning one-on-one. Sometimes I get frustrated when I see forwards leave their forward 50, and this is the reason why. I mean, this is centre bounce, so you have to be inside forward 50, but if you're going to have a big one-on-one win, you might as well have it in the area of the ground that gives you the chance to score the goal, and he doesn't get it in the air this time, big Riley Thilthorpe. He just wins it on the ground, shrugs off Mackay, and gets a handball across. And it's been so impressive. So they've talked about the 17 to 3 marks inside forward 50, but when you win the ball ground level like that as well, then complete package stuff.
Another really fine afternoon. Jake Soligo continuing to grow by the year. Third the best and fairest last season. Another one with some real growth in him. McGrath had a fumble. Perkins. Tough afternoon for him.
Well, he's been disappointing. There's no doubt about that. He's had some mates. Harry Jones, just 4 possessions.
And Soligo again. Goes in and gets it out to Draper. Came off the side of the bird. It might work for Neil Bullen. And everything's going Adelaide's way. They've already got their biggest score at the MCG since 2012. He's got a feeling they're not done with yet.
No, this is goal number 20. What an addition this fellow is for the side. So on field and off, he will be as valuable for what he brings off the field as he does on, and he's a fantastic servant on the field.
So Sid Draper get nailed after that kick. He's hobbled to the bench as Neil Bullen kicks his second for the day. They kicked 5 in the first, 6 in the second, 7 goals in the third. How many can they pile on in the fourth? As we see young Sid Draper head down to the room, so hopefully nothing too serious. We'll try and get an update from Ben Dixon, but Jace just continues to roll on.
Yeah, we keep our fingers crossed for Draper and hope he's okay. I agree with you, Gaz. I thought he was a brilliant pickup in the off-season. But what we are seeing from Adelaide as well, after last week and now today, you bank your wins early, but they are building percentage, and this is impressive, and that percentage becomes easy to hang on to as the season goes. It's hard to gain percentage late in the season, so you want to build it early when you get the opportunity and have these big wins, and they're showing no signs of stopping.
One of the underrated strengths going forward will be their ability to kick goals, Adelaide, like convert I'm talking about. They've got 4 or 5 of the best goal kickers in the competition. Take your chances when they present themselves.
Crouch shovels out the handball for O'Brien and trying to get it to Hinge, and he's still cracking in hard. Merritt. There's the sub for the Bombers. Menzie, who could go to Sotis, come on for Nate Caddy. And kick it to the top of the square. There was no one really onto it. Jones got it to Kako, who twists and turns and unselfishly tries to go on the outside of the boots. No 15. Players didn't hear the whistle. Durham, Shield. Now a chance for Gresham.
Tale of the day for the Bombers, isn't it? Just haven't quite had the polish needed to get things done when they've had opportunities.
And goal 2 for Jade Gresham to go with his 10 disposals. It was Pryor. Pops it up looking for Edwards, who might have been pushed out of the marking contest, and he'll get himself a free kick.
I know it's been a hard game for Tom Edwards as well, but if you can walk in and look your team mate in the eye and say, every time the ball came to my area, I absolutely gave all that I had, then he would be able to do that. And there's just a little work under the footy. Sometimes that's paid, sometimes it's not. Hopefully he kicks a goal. He's got 1 to his name already on debut. He's worked hard. It's been hard work.
Put his hand up for a spot on the list. He kicked 4 goals in a practice match against the Western Bulldogs. He's been kicking goals in all the pracky games since. And now he's kicked 2 on the MCG.
It's not an easy day to sort of play when you've only got 1 or 2 games under your belt. First game of here, and you just sit there and think, well, I need help from a teammates to get brought into the game. He's not getting any of that today. He's had to compete 1 out, 1 against 2 on this occasion. Now he gets the free kick, but he put himself in a dangerous position. As you say, all you can ask of this young man is to continue to compete. He's done that and to come away with a couple of goals next to your name. I think he can feel pretty satisfied.
Sid Draper's returned also, boys, down the boundary line. So just a left cork. He was on the bike, just warming up the legs and on the boundary line now.
Happy days, Dicko. You sat on the bench the whole day. You came on to get a big corky in there quad. He has been preferred to stay on the ground over Nate Caddy is the other thing. They took Caddy off the ground to give Menzie a run, and Tom Edwards stays on.
Durham, another centre clearance. Hobbs spent a lot of time at half forward. He's had led for company most of the afternoon.
That's an indication of where this side's at as well. So Rory Laird's been a staple. There's Caddy sitting on the bench, been subbed out. Rory Laird's been a staple in the middle of the ground for the last 4 years. I think he's been All-Australian. He regularly racks up 30-plus touches, but they just said, no, we've gone past that. You can still be a part of this, but you've got to go back again because we've got a whole different mix coming through. And it's a much more dangerous mix.
It's a luxury because he goes back to where he was also All-Australian as a half-backer, but they just had better polish in the midfield now.
Menzie. Murray was quick onto it.
Like Murray's game too. Missed a lot of footy, knee injury. Been rock solid. Wyral, Mike Lanny back there, Keane. They've been terrific.
Such a well-balanced side this season, Adelaide Crows. Big year for Matthew Nicks. He's got them playing some terrific football to start the year. And Hinge will get the free kick held without the ball. And wonderful pick-up since he was enlisted from the Brisbane Lions these years ago. Miller up, building his form and fitness. Disposal number 15.
Been a while since we've seen the Adelaide Crows team come to the MCG and dominate. Of course, back-to-back premiers there through that era. They were an outstanding footy side, and who knows, maybe we're getting back to that early days, but it looks very promising for the Crows supporters.
There's a lot made of their 10-game losing streak at the MCG, but last season in particular, they played some really good games here without getting over the line, and they've put that to bed well and truly today. Perkins tries to get it to Gresham. Durham continues to work hard, and Edwards is going to bomb up with 3 on debut. And that's a nice little side note for the Bombers fans.
Outstanding for the young man. We just spoke about how difficult it's been for him to debut when your team's getting pounded in the manner that they have been, but he just keeps presenting, and it's hard to say that he's living his dream, Jace, but he would be. I mean, the result would be shattering for him, but he's just kicked 3 goals on the MCG, if you don't mind, against the Adelaide Crows in his first hit out. That's outstanding stuff, and Keane just misses the ball altogether there. And
He actually did well, Gresham, just to keep Keane under the footy. Good reward for kicking the goal, he then gets a bit of pickle juice. Isn't that what you want?
he's nice and polished too, on the left foot, so I like the way he's gone about it. Been a very willing competitor, and he's jagged 3 on debut.
3 goals, 1 from those 7 disposals. Just a snap in the pocket. Certainly can hold his head up high. Sardis charging out the middle. There's Murray with a big fist. It'll go straight back to Sardis, who decides himself to have a ping for a 45. The flying touch on the line for an Edwards. We just had the adrenaline pumping. He's kicked 2 in a row.
He was looking at a bag of 4 then. That was going through too.
Miller up. Neil Bullen will have to sit under it. Sardis dispossessed. There's Draper. Fogarty and Reid. It's been a good battle. Fogarty's won out on more occasions than he's lost. There's another one. And they're streaming forward. The hard-running Neil Bullen. Look at him go. Draper. A chance for him to go for goal.
The feedback for Zach Reid has been that he couldn't have been more profound and right between the eyes. He has been absolutely ragdolled by Darcy Fogarty, and he needs to get himself into that gym, Chase. He needs to work hard. I know he's had some interruptions throughout his career, and we're not picking on him, but it's just rare to see a defender get pushed over and off the footy in the manner that he has today.
It was very lightly framed, and it's been a while watching him evolve and working out where he's actually going to play, but Darcy Fogarty's a brute. He just manhandled him, didn't he? And just threw him out of play. But he's going to have to cope with this. It's going to come down to how does he position himself and how does he track his opponent so that he doesn't get monstered like that.
Zach Reid's 5th season in the system. He's had a lot of injuries, so I think he's probably had a lot of time to hit the gym. But just his 11th AFL game. Ollie O'Brien's kick couldn't get over the stretch hands of Roberts. Aggressive into the corridor. It comes off. Although Martin's handball was a bit sloppy. And they're away and running. Shield Those players streaming out goal side. Hobbs is one of them. Kako pops into the pocket. Menzies ran forward. Tries to pop it over the top, but hooks the kick. There's Brad Scott. His concerns, they'll be zipping 2 to start the season.
Yeah, and I don't think he'll be as positive post-game as he probably was last week. For me, until they can find a way to be above average on the pressure side of things, they'll never take that next step. And pressure isn't something that you need personnel for. It's effort-based, it's psychological. And they play so much better when they can put pressure on the opposition, but when they just forget about the pressure, concentrating on other things, it doesn't work for them.
Yeah, well, then it'll be a bit of bad tidings, but it's execution. The sloppiness of the way they've disposed of the ball today would be enormously disappointing. Handballs at the feet, handball out in front that misses, handball behind that misses.
Fogarty wanted it sat on Nakai's head. He wanted to go for the fly. And he did, but didn't get close to the mark.
That's to take absolutely nothing away from this Adelaide side, who've been beautifully led by Jordan Dawson, who's played at an elite high level for a long period of time. He'd be absolutely thrilled with the way his side's going this early days of the 2025 season.
Such a good move when they handpicked him from the Swans, wasn't it? And identified him as a future leader, and who thought he'd be a genuine elite mid.
Shoal now on the left boot. They matched the 21 goals they kicked against the Saints, and there might still be a few more in them.
So this is when, sometimes early in the season, when you just watch Ben Hobbs here, he's half asleep. Shoal, he's got, actually that's a bit harsh, it wasn't Shoal, it wasn't his man, he was trying to mind someone else. I'll have to have another look before I know who it is. Maybe Dersma that comes up at the ball and Shoal gets in behind. But again, the finishing's clinical. This is what's a bit scary for opposition sides. They've got beautiful kicks for goal.
And 12 different goal kickers for the Adelaide Crows. Just like last week, hard to find any player that hasn't had some real influence. Another really strong team performance. Everyone in form, feeling good about themselves at the moment. Dawson that got the perfect 10 coaches votes last week. You might get them again. They're all playing well. Keys, might have been an arm chop. Heating overran it. Shield, just flip that handle out wide to Jones, who again's played the majority of the game up on the wing. Kick towards Edwards and got out the back, but again right on from Murray. Michael Lanning ran out of room.
That's all we haven't spoken about much, Gaz. We talk about Dawson, we talk about Saliga, we talk about all the polished stars they've got in there. Matt Crouch has reinvented himself. It's only 18 months ago. He was playing Sandford. They said, well, we've moved on because of the way he plays and didn't quite like what was going on. And he worked hard to get back in, and he's had 27, and he just continues to contribute and sort of fly under the radar.
There's Matt Crouch coming off 31 disposals, 7 clearances last week as well. Played the 15 games last year, missed midway through the year with a shoulder injury, but he's absolutely an integral cog of this midfield now that they can all work around. There he is again. Just a ball winner.
So that kick there says their kicking efficiency is 77%. Essendon's at 56%. It's the biggest differential in any game for 5 years.
And it
looks like it.
Yeah, correct.
So the number backs up what your eye's telling you. They've been sloppy from the opening bounce, Essendon, and Adelaide have been precise. That's a big number.
Redmond just dropped off Walker, let him take the mark, and then Walker drives it in deep for Fogarty again. 1-on-1, too good for Mackay. And he'll look to go back and try and kick number 3.
And he beat Mackay Cole on that occasion. Mind you, it hasn't been fun playing down back for the Bombers at the moment. There's no pressure further afield. They're picking and choosing where they want to deliver the ball, and they're creating good one-on-one opportunities.
That's their 14th contested mark. He struck them pretty well today, Fogarty. He has his third and they've got 22.
So how many games have we watched over the last however many years and so teams just haven't taken their opportunities? This side will. And Darcy Fogarty, they've taken 19 marks inside their forward 50. Darcy Fogarty's taken 4. And they have looked ominous every time they've gone in. But we just get back to the way that they've used their footy this afternoon. These are the kickers. These are, we talk about Hawthorn being a great kicking side. This is a great goal kicking side.
You spoke about quality goal kickers before. 15-2 from set shots. Now there is conversion. And I can't recall one occasion today where 2 or 3 of the tools up forward have flown against each other.
Yeah.
The separation and the system that they put in place has been first class.
And the goal kicking is a huge part of this.
Yeah.
And it stands them in such great stead.
We've got so many avenues to goal. This Adelaide forward line. And mids are goal kickers as well. It's going to be a potent offence this season. O'Brien. Sardis continuing to try to be busy. Draper dives on it. And he might get pinged, the youngster. He's going to play advantage. Merritt to Draper.
Stand by.
We get to see the...
What will he do?
No, we know what he's going to do, Jace.
Is he too far out for around the corner? No, he's not going back very far. So wait, listen to the crowd. They go up every time he turns side on, they go up. They know it's on.
He's 2 from 2.
It's hilarious.
This one's a bit further out, Joey.
Yeah, he's going to give it more room to bend.
It's a high percentage kick.
Really?
Yes, it is. There he goes, flushed it.
Look at the nonchalance that he walks away with.
Swagger about
That's
that.
the new age. That's the new way forward for Sam Draper anyway. He's kicked 3.
The way he hit that, he could probably do it from 50.
I guess whatever works for you in the end. And he kicked 2 goals in the first quarter, Draper. He's been okay. He's presented reasonably well. No surprise that the man that gets the extraction and sets it up is Zach Merritt. And then this.
It's interesting, guys. We have said pre-game they'll get 3 out of Draper and they'll get 3 out of the first game, so the Bombers right in this.
Okay. That is true. They've had 23 shots a goal. They've kicked 13. They're up to 88 points. And you think, okay,
In the
that'll
context.
keep in the contest. Set the other mob and kick 22.
An official crowd of just under 47,000 is only about 800 or 900 short of a record home and away crowd between these two teams. 47,700 was the record a few years ago at the Adelaide Oval, so a good turnout, as we said, for a perfect Saturday afternoon of footy. Last time they met at the MCG, as we said, was 30 years ago, so haven't met here too often. Draper with an equal career high, 3 goals, then kicked 4 in a game. Crouch, the kick was not 15, so that'll be a throw-in. So Draper didn't hear the umpire. So Adelaide's biggest ever score against Essendon was 30 goals 8. 188 back in 2006. 30 goals 8. Round 10, 2006. So they're not going to get that.
Bag in 2006 for the
Look into that one. There's Tersma, run down from Curtin.
Right there, Jason's talked about their pressure all afternoon. It's been superb. And they're kicking.
I really look forward to when the Crows play some of the teams we think are going to be genuine challenges this year. See how they handle that test, because they've passed the first 2 so easily.
Look at those 3 kicks then. Curtin to Dawson, Dawson to Taylor, and I bet you this one hit someone.
They did, but Fogarty dropped it. He doesn't go for goal. He tries to centre it. Scrubbed along the ground. Essendon have numbers back.
Look at the attention to detail in terms of turning straight to the defensive mindset from the Crows. They're pushing back hard. They're making difficult decisions for the Bombers players. They've been under pressure every time they've won the ball.
The other pleasing thing for Adelaide also is last week they conceded 46 points from clearance, today only 28.
Yep.
Here's Perkins. Martin offers a lead short. Draper wants number 4.
Well done. He worked hard. We saw him almost up on the wing tackle and then working back into the forward line to become a target.
It's quite impressive down here at Brownlow. Like, he's instructing, he's yelling, he's like his energy just lifts everyone around him.
Yeah, he's going to be a beauty.
Kicked a terrific individual goal in that third quarter. Isaac Kako. Looking for number 2, just inside 50. That's great execution. Well done from Isaac Kako.
It's going to be a play, Jace. There's no question about that. Every time the ball goes into his area, he's at it. He's trying to put as much pressure on as he can defensively. It's in his second game, steep learning curve, but he's a beauty.
So he's up there starting it all, and then he just bolts forward. Look at the sprint. He just continues to run, and they don't go with him. They can't go with him. And he gets great reward for the effort. A really good kick, and then he finishes.
It's one of the few occasions defensively Adelaide let themselves down. So he asked the question, so absolute full credit to Isaac. He ran past a few of them that all day have been able to peel off and take the most dangerous. On that occasion, they just had a lapse, and he was good enough to take advantage of it.
Just quickly, boys, down the bench line, we know the bench hold up cards the whole time. Adelaide just held up a boxing glove. So I can only assume he's knock him out. Don't take your foot off the throat.
Cryptic. Saligo, handball to Keys. He might be looking for 5. Instead he looked for Neil Boylan. Handball's going to stay alive. Ben Mackay, how does he take care of business? He doesn't. Ball stays in. Pryor then coughs it up. And Adelaide's forward pressure still there.
Just went to ground too easily. Ben Mackay, you've got to be stronger over the ball.
So, Jace, the day that Adelaide kicked 30 goals against Essendon, 2006, I could give you 20 guesses on who kicked 8, and I don't think you would get it. That's a real surprise. I'll give it to you in a moment.
Jump in, Gaz, because I'm blank.
Tall, small.
Tall. Trent Henschel. Trent Henschel kicked 8.
Would have remembered.
He kicked 8 that day. Ken McGregor kicked 4. Free kick over the shoulder. As I mentioned earlier, Essendon have to butter up for Thursday night footy against Port Adelaide, who are about to take on Richmond after this at the Adelaide Oval. And the Crows will head home to take on North Melbourne and watch them play tomorrow. They'll be chock full of confidence. How do you see that Jones experiment on a wing?
I've been disappointed with him. I've been disappointed with Gresham's game today. Perkins, I don't think's had much of an impact, and Shield hasn't had much of an impact. So I don't know. He looks like he's trying. Harry Jones, I've watched him pretty closely because I think he's got some ability, but he's running the wrong spots and just doesn't find anywhere near enough of the footy. But he hasn't been on his own today. It might just be one of those days where they've all had to chase tail against a red-hot Adelaide Crows side, and whose precision kicking like that just doesn't allow the opposition to get the footy back. It's been the impressive, well, it's been so much to be impressed about. Their field kicking and goal kicking has been absolutely elite.
That's now their 20th mark inside 50. Shoal on both feet. Another one that can seriously kick the footy. And this man, I feel he's in for some sort of season. He's taken the 7 marks, 14 disposals, kicked 2. And he gives that some height, some length, and some accuracy. And he says, how about that?
Who's the best? When I say best goal kicking, most accurate. Well, not even most accurate, but clearly though. So if you've got Phil Thorpe and you've got Fogarty and you've got Rankin and you've got Walker and you've got Rochelle and Shoal when he takes his chances, Dawson when he takes his chances, Hinge kicks the ball beautifully. Laird's going at 100% by foot. Worrell's going at 100% by foot. This is a kicking machine.
Isaac Cumming can kick a footy.
So there's an interesting discussion. They've conceded 94 points, so 1 goal of 100. That might make you think, oh, they've got a concern defensively. But they're so powerful when they control the footy going the other way. Do you think it bothers Danny Nix at all?
Malcolm Blight might have wandered down there to chat with him.
Exactly. We'll just kick more than the opposition.
That's it.
Perkins scrubs it out for Jones. There's a couple of tall wingmen at the moment, Curtin and Jones. It's a modern age. Neil Bourne still going in hard, head over it. And Jones couldn't keep it in. So not only have they broken the drought here, Jason, the Adelaide Crows winning at the MCG. I've just been told it's the biggest score by an interstate team at the MCG since West Coast in 2013. So 12 years since an interstate side has come to the MCG and put on nearly 150 points. Draper, until they unleash him for a full game. Laird. Dawson disposed number 33, gives it back to the youngster. Reed's lost all sorts of confidence to not even want to mark that.
That's right, Joey. That's the man who's had a tough afternoon. They've taken 111 uncontested marks. It's been 60 marks to 22 since half-time. So that also gives you an indication of how well they kick the footy Adelaide and how much they've owned it and how little opportunity Essendon have had to get the footy off them.
Throwing right on centre wing, just over 4 minutes left in this one. Just saw O'Brien tap his left hip, so let's see if there's a little play for someone to run onto. That's where it goes. It was for Curtin. Michael Lanny came the other way. Jones on hands and knees.
Let it go, let it go.
There's Durham. He's certainly tried hard all afternoon. Shields had his moments. Merritt lost his footing. Chance for Adelaide. Fogarty, I should say, tried to break through two of them. He couldn't quite get away. And they're off. Durham to Shield. And now Jones. If he looks inboard, they've got Perkins and Durham continuing to run, but that was just a tired, lazy kick. They're looking for the finish line, the Bombers.
That's a classic case also having no options further afield, trying to invent something out of nothing, whereas when Adelaide go forward, there's multiple options. You've always got a target to kick to.
Just playing this one out now, led in no rush. Redmond, sweep it back to Nick Martin. Roberts is starting to rack up some numbers, disposal number 19. Good kick for Edwards. There's been one bright light for the Essendon forward line today. Goes forward, a couple of Bombers went for the same ball. In some ways, it sums up the afternoon. And Adelaide are now away and out. Peatling looks up, it's an open forward line. Phil Thorpe wants it. He wanted it long, then he came at the leg. That's been the kick all day. Rochelle wants one more. Kick will go in that direction, although he did his work illegally off the ball.
Phil Thorpe's aerobic capacity is impressive. He put some real defensive pressure on and then double back up for a hit-up lead. It's an impressive, big man.
Sardis, disposal number 25, not his best. Laird, short. Fogarty's got them queuing up everywhere. Soligo can go over the top to Keys, or he can finish himself. And he caps off another excellent afternoon. 26 disposals, 2 goals.
We'll just repeat what we told you earlier. At one stage it was 55. You've got the 59% their kicking efficiency, but here, that there tells you that the gap between Essendon and Adelaide has been the biggest it's been for 5 years in terms of the ability to hit targets by foot. And that's Sardis, who's a high draft pick for Essendon, missing another easy kick through the middle of the ground.
He's not happy. And there were 4 or 5 Essendon players down on their haunches, hands on their heads after the goal was kicked.
16 goals they've kicked from turnover,
Yeah.
Adelaide Crows, and they've got the Kangaroos, the Suns, the Cats and the Giants. We wouldn't want to play them right now, the way they're going about it.
As you can see there, through the next 4 at home. With tough ones to come, but they're going to be hard to beat, particularly at the Adelaide Oval this year. Adelaide, you feel, if they continue to play the way they are with ball in hand. Down to the final minute 30. Brian certainly hasn't been the worst this afternoon. Kick inside 50, Martin. Another one who slipped. He had Durham, Gresham, gave the handball. Merritt can kick an equal PB, 4 goals. Well, it's a fair afternoon when you can walk off, Jace, with 36 touches and 4 goals to your name. But unfortunately for him, it's all about the win-loss column. He's put one for his troubles.
Yeah, he's feeling the pinch. He's worked himself to a standstill. He's feeling one in the shoulder. But he's continued to work and run and push forward, try and get back in defence when needed. But he's involved in everything they do. Some good work from Brian in the middle of the ground. I thought that was a little bit lazy going for it one-handed. Martin perhaps could have taken the mark had he been a bit more desperate. But he's always there backing up, isn't he, Zach Merritt?
Highest rated player on the ground right now is Zach Merritt, which is saying something given his side's 55 points now.
Only once before in his career has he kicked 4 in a game. And he'll finish this one out of the goal square at full forward. So maybe still time for one more. Crouch goes inside 50. Fogarty with the extravagant dive. Keys, he's been sniffing around looking for number 5. Rochelle senses another opportunity. Not enough.
Love the desperation there from Fogarty. It's the last minute of the game. He dives to trap it and then taps it back to the advantage of his teammates.
Oh, no.
And maybe he gets reward for effort this time. He will get the goal. He's been chasing late. Rochelle will finish with 4. That's an equal game high with Keys and Zach Merritt.
In some ways, it's almost a perfect finish for Adelaide and the worst finish. Have a look at this. Just watch how this unfolds. So it's called play on straight away. Stands there and waits until he gets tackled, and then Rochelle kicks it through. So in the end, kind of sums up the day. Adelaide have absolutely mauled them. The Essendon Footy Club, they kicked 25 goals. 25.
You just don't see scores like that kicked very often anymore, do you? It's enormous.
We've got 5 goals, 6 goals, 7 goals, 7 goals.
12 individual goal scorers. It's a good spread.
This will be a very pleasant plane trip back home to Adelaide. Again, I know that Matthew Nix and his team will keep it very, very firmly, feet firmly on the ground.
They're building.
But they've ticked a few boxes today.
There goes Shield charging off the back of the square. Durham. Curtin from the wing.
Why did he become a winger? He was, as Matthew Nix told Dicko, he's going to play as the 4th tall forward. He's played on the wing this last quarter and looked pretty good.
He's got some versatility.
Quality of the tackle.
So we're in the 37th minute of the 4th quarter. It's your fullback chasing down.
They've had considerably more possession, the Crows, and they've also had a lot more tackles. 60 to 48.
Well, the Crows break their drought at the MCG. And they didn't just break it, they smashed it. 25 goals, 11. They win by 61 points. And maybe it's a bit of a warning shot to the competition. Their offence was on full display. All the forwards got in on the axe. The midfielders got a stack of footy. And they will leave Melbourne in really good shape. It's the first time they've been 2-0 to start the season since 2017. And in that year they played off to the grand final. Adelaide Crows, big winners by 61 points.
Welcome to Super Saturday Live on Fox, brought to you by Toyota. Footy's back. Oh, what a feeling. Adelaide Crows, they were a class above all afternoon, and they are proving David King, Jack Revolt to be the real deal in 2025.
Welcome to the Crow show. That's what it is. They are just on fire. They've got star factor players everywhere. The team is humming with their ball movement. Okay, some work to do defensively. But when you can take your best player in Isaac Rankin off halfway through the second quarter, that is a slap in the face to the opposition. We don't even need him anymore. This game is done. It's a big statement.
How would you describe Essendon's
Alarm bells for the Essendon Football Club, and we'll go through it later on tonight. But to give up 160 points at your home ground, I mean, extremely disappointing for that football club, and plenty to pick through as well.
And we will do so later tonight on Super Saturday Live. But our attention turns to Adelaide Oval for one of the...
All right, folks, there we go. A big victory, of course, to the Adelaide Crows. Just way too good today. 25-11, 161, defeating Essendon 15-10, 100. It was a goal-scoring feast in the final term by both sides. The Bombers putting on 6 goals, 3. Where was that in the first 3 quarters? Of course, Adelaide putting on 7 goals, 1. Adelaide winning all 3 quarters. 70% picked the Crows to win in the poll today in the live chat. Well done, everyone. Well done. Thanks, everyone, for coming in. I tell you what, yeah, Adelaide do look good. They're on song for this year so far. Tell you what, I wouldn't want to be playing the Adelaide Crows next week. They're a scary opposition. Essendon, they need a good hard look at themselves. They definitely need to go into the review. Have a good look at the tape, see what they can do. Just before we close off, I just want to have a look at the player stats there for everyone. Just for the fantasy points, if you play that game, Zach Merritt top the table, 138. Jordan Dawson, 134. Keys, 132. Matty Crouch, 131. The only 4 players over 100 in the AFL fantasy points. Of course, the goal scorers on the ground. And, of course, we had 3 players kicking 4 goals. 2 of those players came from the Adelaide Crows, Josh Rochelle and Ben Keys, both with 4. Riley Thilthorpe with 3. Darcy Fogarty with 3. Saligo with 2. Rankin with 2. Neil Bullen with 2. All multiple goal scorers there for Adelaide. And single goal scorers, of course, Tex Walker, Lachlan Scholl, Malera, Hinge and Curtin. And, of course, for the Bombers, Zach Merritt. Well, Zach Merritt had a cracking game. By far the best player out there for the Bombers. He kicked 4 goals. Thomas Edwards, he kicked 3. And, of course, Sam Draper kicked 3. A lot of those goals coming in the final term. Isaac Kako, 2 as well. Nick Martin, Gresham and Caldwell, all single goal scorers there for the Bombers. So a little bit more respectable was the scoreboard, even though it was such a big margin. And, of course, Zach Merritt, leading disposal getter on the ground, with 36. He had 20 kicks, 16 handballs, 2 marks, 3 tackles, 7 clearances, 4 goals, 1. Wouldn't surprise me to see him get 1 vote on a demoralised losing side. He was very good for the Bombers, Zach Merritt. Jordan Dawson, he led the way for the Crows on 33. Matty Crouch on 32. And there we go. We'll just scroll down to see. Now, they were saying, Nick Martin, can he get 20? Well, he ended up with 20. There he is, Nick Martin there for the Bombers. He ended up with 20 disposals. He had 9 kicks, 11 handballs, 5 marks, 1 tackle for 1 goal, 1. So not a bad job. So there is your disposal count for the players. Rochelle, 16. Ben Hobbs, 14. Darcy Fogarty, 14 there for the Crows. Who else do you want to look at there? Who else do you want to have a look at there? Sam Draper ended with 3 goals. As I said, he had a good opening quarter. Very quiet for the second, third. And just a couple of touches there in that final quarter. Ended up with 10. Just the disposal count, there we go. About 40 up for the Crows. They dominated in pretty much every facet of the game today. Look at that. That's 75 more kicks. Wowee. Essendon just trying to over-handball the ball a little bit. You know, it's a little bit like that. Just trying to open up a little bit of space. Kick long. They were 12 above their season average, of course. Adelaide under, but over on their kicks. Inside 50, look, both teams had a fair bit of opportunity. 15 ahead, though, to the Crows. They made the most of it. They kicked accurate. They kicked straight. Efficiency, not too bad for both teams, but as you see, Adelaide 78.6, that's really high. So they were really good all day long. And of course, the efficiency inside 50, both teams up on their season average, very good. Free kicks, not too bad, 21-17, 4 plus 2, the Bombers. The hit outs, the Bombers by 4 in that aspect. As the clearances, as the centre clearances, wow-wee. Stoppage clearances, Adelaide. But the Bombers couldn't take advantage of the hit out or the clearance section there. Contested possession, all tied up, uncontested. Well, there we go. A little bit flattering there to the Bombers. What's that? 31 plus 2, the Crows. Turnovers both reasonably high there today. The marks, Adelaide just controlled the game, as you can see. Look at that, 70 more marks. Wow-wee. Marks inside 50, 7-20. Any wonder Adelaide put the score on the board. They just found space. They worked well together as a team up forward. The forwards knew what they were doing. Some forwards would lead out, open the space up for the other forwards, and they'd chop and change that. So it left the opposition, Essendon, guessing in their way. Contested marks, Adelaide stronger, 14-7. And as we have a look at the tackles, both team tackles reasonably well. Adelaide on target there for their season average of 60. Essendon well under. Essendon need to bring a little bit more pressure in their game if they want to have a bit more of effect. But that was the score today, folks. 40 goals were kicked in this game today, which is pretty rare. High scoring game. A lot of the goals coming in the final quarter there for the Bombers. But Adelaide were just a super, super impressive team all the way through. 5 goals in the first quarter, 6 goals in the second, 7 goals in the third, and of course 7 goals in the final quarter. I tell you what, you got a happy Adelaide camp if you're for Adelaide. At least you made it to 100, not bad. Yeah, at least they got it to 100, so it wasn't too bad. You know, like the last quarter, well, it might have just been a little bit more free-flowing. But, you know, Essendon looked all right in like 2-minute patches of the game in the first 3 quarters, mainly in sort of the third quarter. They came out looking all right, but then Adelaide took over again. But it was just another one of those games. All right, folks, that's me. I'm over and out. We're going to head on over to the Port Adelaide-Richmond game. That should be another cracking game over there. So thanks everyone for coming on in. We'll see you next time. Ciao for now. And if you want to follow the Port Adelaide Richmond game, I'll start a new live in just a few minutes' time.